All right, let's try this one more time. Well. Again, man, the news out there with the Dallas Cowboys. You got to do some digging, but I found some articles and some things today that I think that'll be some good things for us to talk about. So again, welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And as you come in, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video. All right, here we go. So as people come in, let's get our topics down for the day. Our topics for the day, we're going to talk about Brian Broaddus. We had this up before. We didn't get a chance to finish it. We're going to go into it. Brian Broaddus. He gave us some OTA takeaways. We're also going to talk about the rookie coaches. I was talking about this on Cowboys After Hours last night. Made a couple of mistakes I want to clarify last night so we can make sure we keep it with the facts. Then we're going to look at the Cowboys rookie coaches over the years, and we'll see. And we really can't rank Brian Broaddus yet. We really can't rank, Brian Broaddus. We can't rank Brian Schottenheimer yet. Just kind of looking at what he's doing, it looks really good. But a lot of people are still not convinced fully on Brian Schottenheimer. They keep going back and forth. But I'm sold, but I still want to see what it looks like during the season. We're also going to look at the fact that Dak is incredible. We want to look at that. And we're also going to look at, and I didn't put it on here, but we're going to look at three coaches. Not coaches. Three players. Three players that must have breakout seasons. They must have breakout seasons. And so we're going to fit them into the mix, because actually that was one of the main things I want to talk about. But we're going to fit them into the mix, and we are going to talk about three players that are absolutely on the bubble. So let's get a quick roll call, and then we'll get this started. All right, man, I'm a little tongue twisted today. I think I stayed up too late last night on Cowboys After Hours. But we're going to get this party started right. Don't worry. Once we get it going, we're going to get it going. All right, let's get us some roll call music in here. All right, let's get it. Man, I appreciate y'all coming in. Let's get this thing going. Daniel Liam, he said, what up, G and Cowboys Nation? Yeah, we got more news on the Ramsey front. He tweeted out this morning. He said 5. Oh, okay, I hadn't heard this thing about Jalen Ramsey yet. He said 5. Okay, I'll see what that means. The ghost of Mike McCarthy, what's going on? He said, a good day for a second, try to talk some Cowboys. Yeah, I got it together this time. We're gonna get it going. Dak Owens filthy in the crib. What up with you? Yes. Jared Thomas in the crib. What's going on? We got it going this time, Jared. Well. Brandy Mahoney in the crib. Let's go. Randall Armstrong. He said, what up, Cowboy Nation? Ty Howard in the crib. Oh, yeah. Ty Howard said he was upset he missed After Dark. He said, I'm not missing this one. Appreciate you. Yeah. Jared said only Dak haters like McCoy Smith. Dak delusional say that. Yeah. Vaughn Hopkins, DC4L. Hallelujah in the crib. What's going on? C-Base in the crib. Let's go. Michael Tyree, what's going on? He said the disrespect for number 4 is ridiculous. Oh, for sure. But they're already getting all the stories together. They're going to try to eat off Dak Prescott like they normally do. John Henry in the crib. What's going on with you? OG Cowboy fan for life. What up? Lisa Worley back up in here. What's going on? Good to see you. All right. Reginald Jackson in the crib. What's crack-a-lacking? That's what we used to say back in the day, Reginald. What's crack-a-lacking? Let's go. All right. All right, let's get this thing started. Let me do a quick little edit as people come in, and I'll kind of talk as I edit, because this is actually one of the main things that I wanted to get in here. and I didn't put it on here. But I want to talk about 3 players for the Cowboys. 3 players that I believe are absolutely on the bubble for the Cowboys this year. And they have no choice but to have big seasons this year. All right, let me put this on my agenda here. Forgive me, I thought I'd put this on here. This is one of the main things I had at the top. 3 players. I'm gonna just put 3 players here. All right. All right, so I got this in our topics. I want to make sure this is one of the things that we're going to mainly talk about today. I can't believe I forgot this on here. So we're going to probably go a little bit out of order. All right, let me get this set up real quick. But we got to get this in here because there are 3 players on the Dallas Cowboys. They have to have a great season this year. Because if they don't have a great season this year, I have a feeling that they are going to be out of here. I really do. I think they're going to be out of here. So these 3 players, I want to put this at the end, but the reality is we're probably going to put this somewhere towards the top. All right, so what we'll do so I can edit and while this is going. So what we'll do is we're going to go to our first topic. And our first topic is going to be none other than Brian Broaddus. And Brian Broaddus had some OTA takeaways. So I want to go to those so I can make sure that we get this thing straightened out because I want to make sure, and I want you guys' thoughts on this thing, of the 3 players that they must have a breakout season. And I'm pretty sure you saw them on the thumbnail so you'll know who they are. But let me get that fixed up. And so what I'll be doing while we get that fixed up, I'll be working on getting that on our agenda. All right. Again, let's go. I'll do some more greetings in a moment, but let's get this thing started. We got quite a few topics today. Let's get it.
All right. What if I told you that Jonathan Mingo was catching passes yesterday in the in your practice and looking good doing it?
Sounds like a good candidate for 2025 Mr. Oxnard.
Well, I'd say I know you definitely weren't in practice then. If that was the case.
Oh, that's the
Who told you that?
I got the verb. No, I actually heard this.
About 3 of 8.
I heard this. I heard this. Mingo and Paris Campbell were catching passes in this.
Were they forgetting about Paris Campbell?
Cropper.
I forget about him too.
Cropper, Mingo, Campbell.
I had heard Cropper had Nick Harris was letting me know about Cropper. So was Mingo doing this with Dak or was he working with Milton?
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah. So to me, I was expecting the old George Pickens talk, Tolbert.
Yeah.
Now let's see what's going on with Lamb but the most productive receivers that I heard at practice were Mingo. Well, actually, Cropper, Mingo, and Campbell were the 3 most productive during the practice. So,
well, I mean, you don't need somebody to emerge big time, but if you could get good production and upgrade at spots 3 and 4, that would be tremendous. Paris Campbell, he had like a 700-yard season. What happened to this dude? Last 2 years, he just fell off a cliff. Last year, 6 catches.
Yeah.
Wow. But with the Colts, he had 63 for 623 in 2022.
It's a big play threat coming out of Ohio State, man.
Big threat there. Actually, are you guys surprised that they immediately plugged in Guyton at left tackle?
Okay, before they get to Tyler Guyton, so I had heard the Cropper talk. I had not heard the Campbell talk. I had not heard the Paris Campbell talk. And again, I think the Cowboys want Paris Campbell to be a big deal. I really do. I think the Cowboys want Paris Campbell to be a big part of this team because Paris Campbell has got big play potential. He really does. He's got big play potential. He's got speed. So I think the Cowboys want him to really make it. Chanel, he said, "What up? Yes, sir. Deep in the heart of heart of Dallas. Yeah, what is going on with you?" Again, I heard about Cropper. This is the first time I've heard about Mingo. This is the first time I've actually heard about Mingo doing his thing in OTAs. So the thing with him, it is very good to hear. I am glad to hear that he is doing well in these OTAs. He is doing well in these OTAs. So again, hey, good news. But did y'all hear what he said next? Surprised about the Cowboys plugging in Tyler Guyton. Let's hear the rest of what he's got to say about that.
You know, I'm not, Brian, and I almost mentioned this to you at the break, but Fred interrupted me. Okay,
Yeah.
so last night I watched all of the Dak picks several times, right? I'm
Okay.
like, what happened in 2024 with these picks?
Because you were talking about if you don't have a left tackle, there's problems.
The picks are going to go up.
Okay, there you
And
go.
I still do believe that. You know, when Tyron Smith played, Dak had some great years when he was out. Inconsistencies reigned. But what I saw is in 6 of the picks, it was all clog and cover caused. There was very little pressure on Dak. One of them was clearly a Guyton pressure, and one of them was kind of like a half pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And in all the other plays, I mean, he's doing well. I think if you could get Guyton's athleticism involved in the run game and the penalties cleaned up, maybe a sufficient starter.
Yeah, I remember, you know, going back when the old 22 would get posted and thinking to myself, like, okay, Guyton had a terrible game. And then you watched him. It was like, not as bad as I thought it was. Like, there's definitely a lot to work with there. Not surprised because you just don't have, like, another option 100% that you're going to, like, what is it going to be Awesome Richards? Is that who you're going to start there?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm
tackle
saying. I mean,
instead?
yeah.
So, not surprised. I think he's going to have to play himself out of the starting role. I think the starting spot is his.
And I hope for the best for that kid. I don't think he'll ever be strong. I don't think he'll ever be a powerful player. I think Dawson, I think you got him right. I think he's going to be a guy that's always going to be a pretty good athlete, and that's how he's going to have to win. He's going to have to win with length, athletic ability, staying in position, you know, not getting penalties, you know, getting experience that way. I just don't ever see him being a powerful guy. I think if we're asking him to go get stronger and all that, he's going to have to be one of those guys, Wolchuk, that I always get wrong in the draft.
Sure.
You know, the guy always
Colton Miller.
Miller, yeah. The guy I always get wrong. I always say, oh, this guy's got to get stronger if he wants to. And then that guy plays 10, 12 years.
But it is, with his size, it is amazing just how, like, his upper body.
How lean he is.
It doesn't look strong.
Yeah. Not surprised at all with Tyler Booker. I was worried about that one going in, but immediately plugged in there at right guard.
Initially, like, when you and Vaughn.
Yeah, I still think that the thing with Tyler Guyton, I really think the Cowboys piled a lot on him. I really do. I think the Cowboys really put a lot on him in the beginning, and that may be one of the reasons why he's not maybe doing as well as some of us may think that he should be doing. But nevertheless, Tyler Guyton is going to be the left tackle, I believe. I believe the Cowboys are going to give him I believe the Cowboys are going to give him every opportunity to succeed. I really do. So we'll see how that continues to go. Let's see what they're saying next.
After even talking about that, I'm thinking, like, why? Like, why is this a conversation? But it is, like, the last two, like, they weren't given starting reps. Even Tyler Smith, first OTAs, was not given number 1 reps. He had to eventually
that drives me effing nuts when that happens.
But I guess maybe, like, those were guys taken lower in the back half of the first round. You're taking a guy 12th overall. He better be the plug-and-play guy.
You don't have to worry with Booker that he's going to get entitled if you hand him the job. I think that's why you could feel confident giving it to Booker.
Yeah.
He's going to work hard with great enthusiasm. You also want him to emerge as a leader, so you need to give him status.
Let me ask you guys this. I think they're going to carry 3 running backs. Just my thoughts looking at the roster the way it is.
Booker, what do you guys think of what they're saying about Booker? No surprise to me that the Cowboys immediately put Booker in the starting role. That was the very thing that they had him for in the first place. All right, and I'm having some difficulties putting my comments on the screen. So, Ty Church in the crib, he said, I told you about Paris, bro. Yeah, Ty Church, you were talking about that, and I agree with you. I do believe the Cowboys want him to be successful. I mean, they really want him to be a part of what they're trying to do. And contrary to what we think about some of these players, the Cowboys want these players that they already have on the team. They're hoping those players are the solution. Just like when we were talking last night about the slot cornerback position. Well, the Cowboys are hoping that the slot cornerback position is already sold up on the team. That's what their hope is. They're not trying to they're not looking at trying to do something else at that position. No, they're saying, no, we're hoping it's on the team. They're hoping a lot of their answers are on the team. They were hoping that the wide receiver, the answer was on the team, but it was what it was. The answer wasn't on the team. So the answer for the Cowboys, they're hoping a lot of these answers on the team. Ice Cold Cowboy in the crib, what's going on? Ice Cold Cowboys, hit that like button. I agree. What's going on with you? Good to see you, man. But again, when you think about this thing with when you think about what they're saying, yeah, I mean, again, the Cowboys want all of these. They would love for the players that they have in-house. They want those players to be successful. There is no doubt about that in my mind.
I think they're going to carry the 3 running backs, but if they want to carry, could Hunter Lipke's spot be taken by a 4th tight end?
Yeah, it could be, especially if John Stevens ends up being healthy this time around.
And that's Lipke's spot, not Maffa's?
Well, what I'm looking at is I think I got to carry 3 running backs, and then Hunter Lipke's kind of my fullback and my H. I think Hunter Lipke's spot, and I don't think Hunter Lipke has a sponsor here anymore.
Yeah, McCarthy loved him.
Yeah, and so my thought is if all of a sudden, say that Williams, Blue, and Sanders do look good and you want to keep Maffa, I think Hunter Lipke might be out it that way, but I think that Lipke, Maffa might be in competition, or Sanders with a spot for whoever if they want to keep 4 tight ends.
So your 4 tight ends would be Ferguson.
Okay, now he said he think they're going to carry three running backs. I don't think there's a combination where the Cowboys don't bring Phil Maffa and Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue, of course, is going to be there. Jaden Blue is going to be more of a multi-purpose back. Phil Maffa's making this team. I find it hard to believe that Phil Maffa is not making this team. Phil Maffa is making this team. He is going to be on the Cowboys roster, I believe. I believe Phil Maffa is a huge part of this Cowboys roster. I really do. I don't really know what they're talking about on that. I mean, maybe they have some insight that I don't have. But no, I think the Cowboys are going to carry Jaden Blue, Sanders, Phil Maffa, Javonte Williams. I think they carry 4. Hunter Lipke. I think the Cowboys are going to figure out something with Hunter Lipke. But there is no way to me that Phil Maffa doesn't make this team. There is no way that Phil Maffa is not a part of this team. All right, again, I can't put my comments on the screen. I don't know what's going on with it. I'll be reading some of these. But again, I see my sister Angie, the Rebel Chicks, in the crib. Good to see you. Robert Simmons is in the crib. Again, Ice Cold Cowboy, what's going on with you? Good to see you. Carl Aber in here. What's going on? Good to see you. Roland Rothschild in here. What's going on with you, man? Good to see you. Gene Mart's in the crib. What's going on? D-Rail Carter in here. What's going on? D-Rail Carter says, Nate Newton says, Richards needs an opportunity. I think the Cowboys may give him an opportunity to battle. I really do. I think the Cowboys may give him an opportunity to battle. And the Cowboys, man, Guyton, they may have to accept the facts on Guyton, man. Maybe Guyton is not what they think he is. All right, we got him back on the screen. Let's go. All right. Maybe they may have to accept some things on Guyton. The Cowboys want to be right on Guyton, and a lot of us want them to be right on Guyton. But I will say, open it up for competition. Open it up for competition. No doubt about it. Let me read what Roland Rothschild, he said. Roland Rothschild said if Jalen Marino Cropper was drafted, he'd been given a better opportunity to thrive. Yeah. The Cowboys mollycoddled their draft picks, and Paris is a speedster who was in a bad situation. Hey, Roland, I think they're going to give Paris Campbell a great opportunity. I think he's a part of I think they want him. I don't know if it's going to materialize, but I think they want him to be a part of the plan. I really do. I think they want him to be a part of the plan. I don't know if he'll be a part of the plan, but I think they want him to be a part of the plan because of the speed. Yeah, Gene Martz is talking about Campbell too. Yeah, he runs a 4.31 40. I think people fell out of love with the first Christmas presents we opened March 13th and just threw Campbell and Williams aside. I think Campbell is going to be a part of the I think he's going to be a part of the plan. The Cowboys got they got a treasure trove of wide receivers, treasure trove of defensive ends. And if we really get down to brass taxes, I think even the running back position, they got quite a few options. And I don't know if they're necessarily going to figure Hunter Lipke into the running back position per se. I mean, he's a fullback. I mean, if anything, I think the Cowboys should maybe consider putting him with the tight end group as a hybrid. But I don't think the Cowboys are going to get rid of Hunter Lipke. I think he's going to be there. But I still say Phil Maffa is going to be on this roster. I will find it hard to believe if he is not on this roster. And I think it'll even be crazier. I think it'll be even crazier if the Cowboys put him on the practice squad and give somebody the opportunity to go get him. Chanel says, on the offensive line, Guyton is the weak link with Steele. Guyton needs to be at right tackle as his natural position and is easier to play than left tackle. I already said I thought it was a tall glass to hand to Tyler Guyton to let him come into the pros and be a starting left tackle after only 14 games of experience. And again, Terrence Steele seemed like he was coming off an injury. Maybe that was the reason why he didn't have a good year last year. But again, I say, what if Terrence Steele is playing good? Do you let Guyton just battle it out at left tackle? And if he doesn't beat out Austin Richards, then he's a backup. Because if Terrence Steele is playing good, there's no point in moving Guyton over there just because. I think this is going to be very interesting as this goes. And I think we may see some good camp battles. And we'll talk about some of those camp battles coming up. Iceberg Slim said Roland Rothschild politics is killing him. And Cropper seems to have Cropper, he seems to be one of these guys that people talk about every season. But then you don't see him on the field. I mean, every preseason, the talk is Cropper, but he never gets on the field. Cropper may emerge on another team as a starter in the future. Yeah, you're talking about Guyton. Yeah, he was a rookie, but I still say I think that was just too much for him. It would have been better, but it is what it is. But I think with Tyler Guyton probably would have benefited from sitting behind somebody rather than just throwing him into the fire, because people are saying, well, you throw him into the fire and it really helps him out. Well, Guyton didn't look good last year. And again, I do agree with something that he's saying about Guyton. With his athleticism and strength, I think they would have did him better had they really tried to get him going in the run game. But I just think they were lost. And so, again, we'll see what they do as they go forward. But, yeah, Guyton is a part of the plan. Roland Rothschild, I said this yesterday. I had some people in their feelings in the comments when I released the video. If people don't think that the Cowboys are looking at Tyler Guyton as the Tyron Smith replacement, they're not paying attention. Roland, that's exactly what they want him to be. And he ain't Tyron Smith, and there ain't a lot of people ain't Tyron Smith. And it's the same thing with Tyler Booker. They want Tyler Booker to be Zach Martin. Now, Tyler Booker, I don't want him to be Zach Martin. I want Tyler Booker to be Tyler Booker. I think Tyler Booker is going to be great in his own right. And because he's got more game experience, big school, better competition, I think Tyler Booker is going to be more ready. I think he'll be more ready than what Tyler Guyton is. But Tyler Guyton, struggle mightily. We'll see what happens this year. Poobie D in the crib, what's up? But my issue becomes, but how long do you give him to get ready? I mean, if he isn't showing you what he needs to show you, by what game? Tyler Guyton, man, they got to really, with Guyton, because you have Awesome Richards, you really have to create a situation to where, hey, Guyton, you don't do what you're doing. Awesome Richards is going to beat you out. And if Awesome Richards beats him out, then let him beat him out. But Guyton needs to really know, man, you got to get it together. You got to get it together fast. Yeah, my man Poobie D, what up? What's the deal? Roland Rothschild again. Yeah, Booker's NFL ready. Yes, I believe so too. He is definitely NFL ready. 06 USA, he said the offensive line as a unit did not play well. People trashed Tyler Guyton but failed to examine the coaching. Coaching Sirianni was a big deal too. Yep. So we're going to see what happens with better coaching and all of these things that they're talking about. I think that we will see some improvement, but the question is how much? And we need to see a lot. Ratio in the crib, William Jones in the crib, good to see y'all. Davion Wallace, Darren Posey, what's up, man? Good to see y'all in here. Iceberg Slim in this thing, appreciate y'all. Lisa Worley is always in here, what's going on? Timo 419, what up with you? Let's go. Dave Polk in the crib. What up? All right, let's keep going. I'll do some more greens as we go.
Forward, and we'll see what happens with Fairweather, who they really like from Auburn. John Stevens, can he stay healthy? Mm-hmm. You know, they really liked Fant. Fant was kind of one of these guys that was kind of like the...
And Fant can be a fullback.
He could be the
fullback. They lined him up there.
I just wonder if that position, as I'm looking at, I think that if they want to carry an extra tight end, I think the position they'll poach from is running back is where I'm at right there. I was hearing a bit about with Joe Milton a little bit, just a little.
Yeah, and I do think, Lipke, you might need to consider Lipke in that tight end room because he's really kind of like a hybrid between a fullback and a tight end anyway. Angie the Rebel Chicks, what's going on? Again, my sister, she said might as well give Lipke a chance if they considering dudes. Lipke needs to be a part of the plan. Lipke really does need to be a part of the plan. I think they're going to have to keep him. B Fatty, what's going on? He said make him a janitor. Carl Abrams said all I can say is wait until training season and preseason. Yeah, we're going to get a full dose of Guyton. I think it's going to be a good battle between him and Awesome Richards. Ratio said, Ghost, all three of these tight ends are good in my opinion. Lipke's spot as a hybrid fullback tight end might be in jeopardy. Yeah. The Cowboys got some depth at tight end. We're going to bring that up when we talk about Ferguson here in a moment. Ice Cold Cowboy said, why have Sanders when we have a younger version in blue? Yeah, Sanders won't make this team. I don't think he's going to make the team. Al Taylor, what's going on from Connecticut? Yes, sir. Good to see you. Chanel said, I think this year Dallas will run a lot of 12 personnel and 21 personnel with their OC. Yeah, I can see that too. Iceberg Slim said, chemistry and politics is on Tolbert's side. Iceberg Slim, you know what? We're going to talk about Tolbert in a moment. But I'm going to give Tolbert the benefit of the doubt, man, from this perspective. I do think he's going to have some chemistry on his side, as you said. I think he's going to have some politics on his side also, as you said. But I also think what he's going to have on his side is Tolbert is a worker. Tolbert is a worker. Tolbert puts in the work. He puts in the dedication. And because of that, I think he's going to be rewarded for it handsomely. I do. The Cowboys are going to give him every opportunity to succeed. Book it. They'll give him every opportunity to succeed. We'll see how it all turns out. The Ghost of Mike McCarthy said, I'd have Lipke practicing taking snaps under center to be Dallas's version of the tush push. It would be telegraphed, but the opposing D would have to show they can stop it. Yeah, that part too. Yeah, because the Baltimore Ravens and with Lamar Jackson, they're letting their tight end do the tush push. So I think when you start talking about that play, find a player that can do it. Find a player that can do it. And if you can do it, then hey, you found another good spot for him. William Jones, what's up? He said receivers should catch the ball. I think catching a few balls for $1 million is easy. Just shut your mouth and catch the ball. I see you. Darren Posey said, I'm not paying 24 months for a defensive back in his 30s with a major tread wear. Oh, you talking about Jalen Ramsey. Roland Rothschild, I agree with you. Phil Moffitt is the answer to the cowbell running back for now. So I agree he would be given every chance to make the roster. Yeah, I think he is the bell cow back. We don't have to worry about Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue is going to be the all-purpose back. He'll be in the pass game. He'll be in the run game. We're not going to have to worry about Jaden Blue getting his touches. The Cowboys got plans for him, I believe. And he's too good out of the backfield as a pass catcher to not use him in that capacity. I mean, he actually said that he really works hard at the wide receiver spot. Neo, not from the Matrix in the crib, what's going on? He said, I think it was the defensive back Cowboys on Instagram. He said that Javonte Williams said that according to what he's seen so far, the Cowboys want to run the ball a lot this year. Neo, they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball more than they did last year. But George Pickens, the wide receiver room is so good. If you look at what I showed last week, history alone says, yeah, we're going to run the ball more than we did last year. But don't be surprised if we're still going to pass the ball more than we run the ball. If you look at what happened with Brian Schottenheimer in the season with the Seattle Seahawks, his first season, well, they had to run the ball a lot in the beginning. I mean, that season because they really didn't have the wide receivers. I mean, Lockett was all that they had. But when DK Metcalf came on board that following season, they went more pass. And again, it won't be like it was with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy didn't like to run the ball. Shotty likes to run the ball. But don't get it twisted. He also likes to throw the ball too. And so even with Russell Wilson, they went 55% pass, 45% run, and it even decreased even further in the third year when it came out, hey, let Russ cook. And that was the 12-4 season. So you have to imagine Dak Prescott being a better passer, a way better passer than Russell Wilson, way better wide receivers. The combination of Lamb and Pickens to me is better than DK Metcalf and Lockett. So when you look at the wide receiver room, no, they're going to throw the ball. You can book it. They're going to throw the ball. The reason why the Cowboys are working on the run, I'm sure, what's his name? Clayton Adams. They like what he does in the run game. They want to use some play action. So think about some of the work that they're doing on the line. Some of that is working into the play action. No, they're going to throw the ball. I guarantee you. They're going to throw the ball. And they're probably going to throw it somewhere between 35 and 35 times. They're going to throw the ball. And I will not be surprised that they throw the ball a little bit more than they run the ball. But they won't run it. You think about it. Mike McCarthy said he wants to run the ball, took over for Kellen Moore, and only ran the ball somewhere around 31% of the time. The same percentage that Kellen Moore ran the ball. No. Brian Schottenheimer will ramp it up. He'll ramp it up to somewhere around 40 to 45%. I don't think it's going to be 50-50. And even if it's 50-50 in the beginning, as the season goes on, and they continue to make sure Dak is okay, by mid-season, you watch what I tell you, by mid-season, they're going to ramp it up. And it'll probably go somewhere 45, 55, 43, 57, because, man, the Cowboys got too much. They got way too much speed. Way too much speed, way too many weapons in the wide receiver room. And I'm counting Jaden Blue in that wide receiver room. He's going to be in both rooms, wide receiver and running back. I'm counting him. You think about what they have going. The Cowboys, they're going to throw the ball. CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, George Pickens. As much as we hate to say it, Jalen Tolbert. Mingo will probably get some, he's still going to get some work if he don't beat out Tolbert. I will not be surprised if Paris Campbell makes the team. Paris Campbell going to get some work. Jaden Blue going to get that work. You watch what I tell you. Jaden Blue going to get that work. Kavontae Turpin going to get that work. They're going to make sure Kavontae Turpin probably 3 to 4 to 5 touches per game in the pass game. Jaden Blue, probably 4 to 5 touches in the pass game. They are going to throw the ball. Clayton Adams is not here for the Cowboys to run the ball 55% of the time. That's not what he's here for. He's here so that when they do run the ball, probably somewhere around 40 to 40, somewhere in between 40 and 45. He's here so that when they do run the ball, they run it more violently than they have in the past, and they run it more aggressively. But the wide receiver room alone and the skill positions alone actually dictates the Cowboys are going to throw this doggone ball, man. They're going to throw this ball. I mean, you got Dak Prescott. You're going to throw the ball. I will not be surprised Dak Prescott, 4,500 yards plus 2 minimum 1,000-yard receivers. Jake Ferguson having an absolute monster year. You better believe it. The Cowboys are going to throw that rock all over the place. They're going to throw that rock. All right, let's hear this last thing from Broaddus and these guys.
Scout report on him. Just a little bit indecisive at times throwing the football.
Okay. Yeah.
This is Milton. They're talking about Joe Milton.
Happening a little faster for him than maybe what he was dealing with probably in New England.
When he sees it, can he throw it where he wants it to go?
He's his arm talent is, there's no question about the arm talent.
Yeah.
The questions are going to be, though, and like I say, is he making the right decision? But I think a lot of it has to do with maybe having to catch up here.
Okay. Scheme related indecision.
I think this is more scheme related than anything right there.
I mean, it would make sense that a guy with that build, with that arm, the limiting factor is the decision making. And you basically have to be a savant to ace the test in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's only a few guys in the entire world that are genetically capable of doing this.
I feel what you're saying right here, Rothschild.
A rookie that showed up on defense here in my final.
I feel what you're saying. Rothschild is saying with these players, you know, when you got some a little bit of a buzz around some of these players, he's saying, you know, get a trade on them while you can. I see what you're saying right there. Lisa Worley, I agree with her. She said, push that like button. My sister Niecy up in the crib. What's going on, Niecy? William Jones said, give me just 50,000. William Jones said, for the money these dudes making, William Jones said they don't have to pay him but 50 grand. He'll go out there and play. Boy, I feel you. But William Jones, boy, if you had a crazy monster season, I don't think you playing for 50 no more. I don't think you playing for 50 no more. Lost in translation, what's going on with you? Yeah, I don't think you're doing that no more. Iceberg Slim said, Ferguson better be ready because Spanford is coming fast. Hey, we're going to talk about Ferguson in a moment. Yeah, we're going to talk about Ferguson in a moment. Al Taylor said, gee, I love the channel, man. Keep doing your thing. Oh, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. For sure. Appreciate your support. Chanel said, gee, Tolbert is too inconsistent. That's the word I use with him. Inconsistent. He said, sorry, Mingo is a body receiver. If you on his back, he shields the ball from the defensive back. Yeah, he's a big body receiver. But, you know, I think there'll be room. I think there'll be room for both of them to get work. But we're going to talk about that in just a moment. We're going to switch over to those three players after this last thing. Yeah, Brevin Spanford, dark horse. Yeah, he's going to be in the race too. We're going to look at some of these guys in the tight end room. Ferguson better have a monster season. Because these dudes are nipping at his heels for sure. Rick, he said, I hear a lot of love for Deuce Vaughn. But isn't Blue a newer version of the same style, a bit less undersized? I can't see them carrying two of the same style back. Rick, I don't know where this talk is coming from about Deuce Vaughn. I don't know where this talk is coming from. Deuce Vaughn, I'm just telling us, Deuce Vaughn does not fit into what this team is doing. He doesn't fit. He doesn't fit. When I hear the Cowboys saying they're going to be a violent run team, they're going to run the ball violently, I don't think Deuce Vaughn. You already have a bigger, faster now. You have a bigger, faster Deuce Vaughn. His name is Jaden Blue. And he's better than Deuce Vaughn. Jaden Blue he's better than Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn may have started more games and had a lot more stats. Man, we got to understand where Jaden Blue's been playing, man. Stu been playing Texas behind Bijan Robinson and guys like that. And this dude really came alive this year. No, Deuce Vaughn, there's just no place for him. I know people like Deuce Vaughn. I know people like him. And we want him to be some of these small running backs of the past from some of these other teams. He ain't that. Deuce Vaughn isn't that. Deuce Vaughn probably goes undrafted if the Cowboys don't draft him. Point blank, the truth. Deuce Vaughn goes undrafted if the Cowboys don't draft him. Who knows whose team he's on? I don't think he fits what the Cowboys do. I don't think he fits that style. Now, a guy who could probably use him, I could see a guy like Sean Payton. Sean Payton, to me, is one of those kinds of play callers. He really knows how to use the gadget guys. I don't see Brian Schottenheimer even looking at his past. Brian Schottenheimer isn't really, from what I've seen, he's not the gadget guy type of coach. He's more of the, what I would call the traditional type of coach. He's the traditional type of coach. Okay, power run game, throw the ball. He doesn't mind doing some of the things that are going on around the league. But in the grand scheme of things, a dude like Deuce, people have to understand something. This is my thought process on Deuce Vaughn. Why would I give Deuce Vaughn a screen when I know that I now got Jaden Blue, and Jaden Blue can do that better than him? The Cowboys tried to use Deuce Vaughn in the screen game. Didn't quite work. Why would I give Deuce Vaughn a screen when I got Jaden Blue and he can run that screen better? Why would I give him a quick pitch? Jaden Blue can do that quick pitch better. Why do I want to run him in the A and the B gaps when I know Jaden Blue is going to do that better? Why am I doing that? Why would I do that for Deuce Vaughn? What has Deuce Vaughn done that I say I want to give some snaps to Deuce Vaughn when I got Jaden Blue, who is faster, quicker, bigger, can play in the pass game, easier to see? A lot of people keep talking about, yeah, man, you put him in the backfield, he's hard to see. Yeah, but he's hard to see. Can he block bigger guys? No. Can you put him in the passing game? You better make sure you put him in the flat to where you can see him. And his catch radius, I noticed that was something that they struggle with too. His catch radius. You're really going to have to throw the ball lower in. I'm just telling you, the catch radius isn't there. Why would I do all this for Jay? Why am I making these adjustments for Deuce Vaughn when I have Jaden Blue? I'm not making those adjustments. I'm not doing it. I don't have to do that. I don't know where other people are on this, but it's really logic to me. I don't need Deuce Vaughn to do any of the things that Deuce Vaughn can do because I got Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue is going to do this stuff 10 times better. 10 times better. Appreciate you, Neil, with that super chat. Neo says, I'm at the point now when Dak takes off the run, I hold my breath and hold my Bible like Miami fans did with Tua. I'm scared if he takes off this year. Yeah, I was kind of like that last year. And I can remember like yesterday when people started saying, hey, Dak, do you know Joe Flacco has more rushing yards than you? And I can remember like yesterday, Mike McCarthy said right before that Atlanta Falcon game that he doesn't want Dak Prescott to go out there and prove that he can run. And what did Dak Prescott do that game? Dak Prescott went from running the ball 0 to in the Atlanta Falcons game, all of a sudden he's going to try to turn back into old Dak. Didn't work. And I don't think Dak needs to be trying to. A lot of people don't understand, man, about this Clayton Adams offense and what he did in the run game. You got to go back and pay attention to that. Kyler Murray was a big part of some of what they did in the run game. Kyler Murray was a part of that. Well, Dak isn't going to be a part of that. Dak isn't going to be a part of the run game like Kyler Murray is, because running the ball is a big part of Kyler Murray's game. It's no longer a big part of Dak Prescott's game. And that's why I'm telling us with Clayton Adams, understand, yes, he's here so that we run the ball better, because we're going to run the ball more. But we're not going to do some of the things that Arizona did. We're not going to do some of those things. Why? Because we're better at the wide receiver position. I would dare say we're better at the tight end position. We're better because we not only have Jaden Blue, as we talk about Deuce Vaughn. Why am I going to give him a play when I got Jaden Blue? And not only do I have Jaden Blue, I have Gavontae Turpin. Jaden Blue, I'm just telling us, Deuce Vaughn doesn't fit. And again, Neo, Dak Prescott, I don't think he's going to hardly do any of that stuff. I think Dak will be fine. Don't let him. We don't need Dak extending plays. We got 2 wide receivers now that they should be able to get some separation, which should create separation all over the field. The Cowboys are going to be fine. They won't have to worry about Dak Prescott doing a lot of running. Iceberg Slim, I won't be surprised if he looks good with the line, but I think what I'm saying is, but why do I need Deuce Vaughn? What do I need Deuce Vaughn for? That's the question the Cowboys are going to have to answer. And I think it's an easy question to answer, because are you going to give Deuce Vaughn a chance because his father works for the team? Are you giving Deuce Vaughn a chance because his former coach is now on the team? Are you giving Deuce Vaughn a chance because you like him? Or are you really dealing in reality of, man, Deuce Vaughn ain't no. What do you need him for? You have Jaden Blue. You don't need him. Everything Deuce Vaughn can do, Jaden Blue is a bigger, faster, quicker version. What do you need him for? With the added bonus of bigger catch radius, can block on some plays for the quarterback if need be, if he's in on a play. Man, we have to realize what you lose when Deuce Vaughn is on the field. I mean, the ball has to really go to him. You can't use him on plays to where, okay, you're gonna chip the rusher out of the backfield, and then you're gonna run out for a pass. Really? Who's he gonna do that to? Man, I'm telling you. We all have to be honest with ourselves. The Cowboys shouldn't have never picked Deuce Vaughn. We know doggone well, if we're being honest with ourselves, Deuce Vaughn should have never been drafted by the Cowboys. We know this was a story. The Cowboys shouldn't have never drafted Deuce Vaughn. And I don't even think it's the fact that he don't fit with Mike McCarthy. I don't think he's going to fit with what, if the Cowboys are talking about what they're doing, he don't fit. You're making a place for him is what you're doing. I don't see a scenario where he could beat out Jaden Blue. I don't see one scenario. I don't. Yeah, I don't see a scenario where he's where you would even say we're going to use him in the place of a Jaden Blue, or we're going to carve out some plays for him. I don't get it. I don't even see why we would do it. This is one of them things the Cowboys got to stay away from. Just stay away from this stuff. Should have never got him in the first place. Lost in Translation podcast said, man, Kellen Moore ran the ball 8 times in a row, had me weak. Yeah, he had them. Hey, Kellen Moore had them running backs. In particular, Saquon Barkley, and somebody told him, man, you're going to run the doggone ball, what you going to do? Goldeye, yeah, they will be better if Dak throwing the ball between 25 and 30 times a game. That's exactly what they're going to do. But let's think about this, Goldeye. Dak throwing the ball 25 to 30 times a game will be different than it was throwing in Mike McCarthy's offense 25 to 30 times a game. Because if Dak is throwing the ball 25 to 30 times a game with the current roster, let's think on this. CeeDee Lamb, yards after the catch. But the one that people are going to have to pay attention to, George Pickens. George Pickens eats up huge amounts of real estate. If George Pickens, let's look at it like this. If George Pickens got 8 receptions in Mike McCarthy's offense, it wouldn't surprise me if it was somewhere around 65, 70 yards, 0 touchdowns. George Pickens and what we saw with Russell Wilson, Lockett, and DK Metcalf. No. If he gets 8 receptions with Brian Schottenheimer's offense, you're probably talking about 120 yards in a tub, maybe even 2, because he's going to be down the field. So 25 to 30 throws under Brian Schottenheimer is going to look different than it did under Mike McCarthy. Go back and look at them Russell Wilson stats. Man, let me tell you, this dude had Russell Wilson. Man, Pete Carroll had to put a governor on Brian Schottenheimer. Pete Carroll likes to run the ball too. He had to put a governor on this dude, Brian Schottenheimer. Why? He got DK Metcalf, man. That's where it came from. Let Russ cook. Let Russ cook. So 25 to 30 times with Brian Schottenheimer, it's going to look different because in the West Coast offense, the passing game is really an extension of the run game. That's why Mike McCarthy didn't like the run game, because for him, the West Coast offense kind of takes care of the run game. You throw them little 2 and 3 yard dink and, them little dink and dunk passes, and it's up to the wide receiver to turn those into yards after the catch. Montana ate off that stuff. Man, he played with San Francisco. He ate off that stuff. Jerry Rice took many of the short throws from Joe Montana. I mean, if you look at Joe Montana's yards and you're like, boy, Joe Montana was tearing it up. Yeah, with Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice was a yards after the catch monster. I mean, just insanity with it. I mean, when you look at some of the players that played with Joe Montana in that West Coast offense, it's not that Joe Montana couldn't go down the field. But Joe Montana ate off of, short pass, you take it 15, 20, even 40 or 50. It's going to look different under Brian Schottenheimer. You watch what I tell you. 25 to 30 throws, it'll look so different that you're not going to have to run the ball, even though you're going to be running the ball probably around 40 to 45% of the time. It may not translate into what we're imagining in our minds. I don't think it's going to translate into what we're imagining in our minds or what people are imagining in their minds because we think because we got Clayton Adams, man, we're gonna run the ball. Yeah, more than we did last year. Yeah, more than we did last year. 40% of the time will be a huge improvement for this team. 45% of the time will be a huge improvement for this team. But if we're thinking the Cowboys are going to run the ball 55% of the time, 60% of the time, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Final thought here is Shamar James showed up. And, Zach, we were talking about him as maybe being a guy that's going to be more of a blitzer and not a cover guy. But for him to get the INT.
It's great news.
Yesterday, I thought that was a good sign that if right off the jump, if he's starting to put himself in position where he's making plays not, because I was worried about. Yeah, I was worried about him being a cover guy.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's already showing that, like maybe he can actually do some cover things. I thought the best was to play him at will linebacker and let him run.
Right.
Let him
Agreed.
run to the football.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's showing the ability to play in coverage, and he got an interception off Joe Milton just by positioning and where he needed to be, I think that's a really, really good start for a guy that like I said, will linebacker, let him rush, keep him free, let him.
Let me comment on Joe Milton too. As we finish up with Brian Broaddus, and then we'll finish with Shamar James. Let me comment on Joe Milton III. Joe Milton III, people have to understand what he is. Joe Milton III is a developmental quarterback. Man, there are so many people wanting this guy to be the heir apparent. If Dak Prescott stays healthy, all he will be with the Cowboys is a backup. All he'll be is a backup. And I don't think he is the replacement for Dak Prescott as people think he is. I think the replacement for Dak Prescott is still on somebody's college team. I don't think it's Joe Milton. I don't think it's Joe Milton. Joe Milton is another one of these big-bodied, big-armed, extremely athletic quarterbacks that at the end of the day, we don't really know. They don't always turn out. And a lot of times they don't turn out because you think about these guys with these big arms. They think they can put the ball anywhere. They think that it's all about how hard they can throw the ball, that they can get it anywhere. They're fastball. I can get it anywhere. I can get it before this guy even turns his head. Nah, you can't do that in this league. I mean, he's in practice getting picked off. He's getting picked off by Shamar James in practice, a rookie. And that's not saying anything bad about Shamar James. It just goes to show you that Joe Milton, and I've noticed this, that I've been going back and studying these players, and I think it's good to do this. If you want to do this in your spare time, go back and look at these players' draft profile cards and go in there and look at their weaknesses. You'll be amazed of how some of these players, I did it with Guyton, I did it with Guyton, and I did it with Tolbert. You'll be shocked, and you'll see where these players, some of these guys who haven't turned the corner, they're still struggling with the very thing that these scouts, and we discount these scouts, acting like these guys don't know what they're talking about. And I'm telling you, these guys, some of these guys, they put these draft cards together for these college guys. Man, we don't understand the work these guys are putting in. And I mean, they are putting in serious, serious work. And they get these guys dead on as it applies to some of their weaknesses. And what the goal of that team is how do we turn these weaknesses into opportunities? Can we make this player better in this area of weakness that is holding them back from being an elite player? And Joe Milton, I've already seen 2 reports on Joe Milton. Nick Harris, Brian Broaddus is now saying it. I've seen another article somewhere else. It's the same thing with Joe Milton. We're going to see how it goes, but understand what he is. Big splashy plays. His highs are high, but his lows are low. He can't string the consistency together. People can tell me anything you want to. There's no way that New England, and we know that some people are saying that there were some people that didn't want to get rid of Joe Milton. You're not letting go of a player like Joe Milton if he's the kind of player that some of the Dak Prescott haters think he is. But there wasn't a team in the league for as talented. I mean, I don't think we realize how crazy some people are when they're saying stuff like, yeah, Joe Milton, he going to beat out Dak Prescott. Don't let Dak Prescott lead the field. Man, Dak Prescott he ain't left the field in practice. He's getting opportunities. And he's still not proving that he's that, yeah, the athleticism, the arm, yeah, it's on full display because that's what he is. But that don't mean that you're a starting quarterback in this league. And I don't think we realize how crazy this is. We're saying that Joe Milton III, who couldn't beat out the quarterback in New England, 6-year quarterback in college, started Tennessee his last year, looked pretty good, did some things pretty good. But when he came up on the trading block this year, and all the teams had access to the same information the Dallas Cowboys had access to, can we not use logic? You're telling me the Pittsburgh Steelers were not willing to give up a third-round draft pick for Joe Milton? The Pittsburgh Steelers were not willing to give up a fourth-round draft pick for Joe Milton. You're telling me teams like the Cleveland Browns, the Tennessee Titans, you're telling me that teams were not willing to give up a third? They were not willing to give up a third for Joe Milton. And we're sitting here saying, but he's going to take the place of the MVP runner-up, second team All-Pro, 3 12-win seasons, winning seasons every year he's healthy, Dak Prescott. But nobody else was even willing to give up a third for him. Do we hear what we're saying? This is one of the reasons why with Joe Milton, I wish people would just leave this kid alone, let him come in here, work, learn, and see, okay, he's not going to play for the Cowboys unless Dak goes down. That's number one. Number two, he has to beat out Will Grier. But number three, we have a number three scenario. That if he sits under Dak Prescott, he learns. Maybe if he looks pretty good in training camp, looks pretty good in the preseason. What if a team circles the block on the Dallas Cowboys and Joe Milton III and say, hey, man, we need a quarterback. The Saints circle the block on us and come back and say, hey, we've seen this dude. We've seen him in preseason. How about we give you a second-round draft pick for Joe Milton III? How about we focus more on that? Because the reality is, if we are really hoping for the success of Joe Milton III, if we are really pulling for him and pulling for his success, the same way that I pulled for Trey Lance's success. You know what I was pulling for? Trey Lance to go somewhere else and get a chance. For Trey Lance to go somewhere else and get a chance. You don't want a young kid. Yeah, you want to sit behind a guy like Dak Prescott a year or two. That's great. You don't want a guy sitting behind Dak Prescott 4 or 5 years. Joe Milton III is an older quarterback. He's what, 25, about to be 26, I think? If all things go according to plan, Joe Milton will be 29 years of age by the time he even sees the field for the Dallas Cowboys. And from the things that I heard about him in New England, I don't think he's going to want to sit that long. I don't think he's going to want to sit that long. Dak Prescott has a no-trade clause. Dak Prescott has a humongous contract. And I got a hard time believing the Cowboys would be willing to let Dak Prescott go unless he falls off he can't fall off the cliff. He's got to fall off the Grand Canyon for the Cowboys to say, man, $231 million guaranteed dollars down the drain, or $180 million down the drain, and we'll take the dead cap money because the cap is going to go up anyway. We'll take all those hits, and we're going to roll with Joe Milton III. Do we hear what we're saying? That's crazy work. I just wish they'd leave this kid alone, let him develop, and best case scenario, maybe the Cowboys could turn around and parlay him into a second-round draft pick. Maybe they could parlay him into a great trade that could help this team even more. But if he wants to stick around here, he's going to have to face the facts. Well, if I'm going to stick around here, I better be prepared to stick around for the next 4 to 5 years because of the next 3 to 4 years, because if Dak Prescott is healthy, I'm not going to see the field. And that's the bottom line. And that's why, every time they talk about Joe Milton, they're always talking about the athleticism. But then when they're being truthful, man, people do not understand the lows are very low on him. The lows are very low on him. Nick Harris pointed out the same thing. Man, work ethic and all that stuff is great. He has a mind to get better. But at the same time, man, just let the kid work. And we're gonna hear more of this stuff during training camp. They're gonna be talking about him. Oh, he made this throw and that throw. Don't matter. Don't matter, man. It does not make you a quarterback in this league. But again,
run to the football.
Didn't he play on the basketball team too? He probably got some pretty good feet for staying in front of guys.
He's a very quick guy. You can see, but Zach's right. He's more of a downhill player, but I just worried about his awareness, the instincts.
Yeah,
that was a big problem.
My biggest question.
But if he's already just in day one showing his ability to be in the lane and maybe get an interception or two, that's actually a good sign for a kid that he's going to need this linebacker room. They're going to need somebody. They're going to need some.
It's so much better than it was a year ago, though.
No, there's no question about difference. That. No question about that.
All right, I think that was pretty good by Broadus and those guys. Pretty good evaluation. Alfredo Morales, he asked a question. He says, "So please explain to me why fans want other teams' rejects and retreads. What the hell?" He says, "What the heck is wrong with going with the young bloods?" Alfredo, this is actually what the Cowboys did in the 90s. And I do think they're doing that for the most part now. And as it pertains to Jalen Ramsey to me is what I call a very good discussion. But the reality of Jalen Ramsey is, to me, Jalen Ramsey is not going to be a Dallas Cowboy. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to give Jalen Ramsey now the Miami Dolphins are going to eat the roster bonus or whatever it is, the $4 million. And so now you're talking about a $21 million hit for Jalen Ramsey. It's not happening. The Cowboys are not taking a $21 million hit for Jalen Ramsey. It's not going to happen. And from everything I've been hearing from people, it doesn't sound like the Cowboys can take that money and spread it out. Doesn't sound like they can do that. From what it is being said, that whoever gets Ramsey, they got to pay that money this year, $21 million. It's not going to happen. The Cowboys are not going to get Ramsey. I think what the Cowboys are hoping, Ratio, I think what they're hoping, I think some of us are right here. I don't even think Diggs is a part of the plan. Not long term. I don't think Diggs is a part of the plan. I believe the plan is. I think the plan is simple. Let's look at the roster. We talked about it last night. And then we're going to move to these three players. We're going to skip that up. I forgot to put that on the agenda. So since I got it on this page, we're going to leave it there. The Cowboys on this thing with Jalen Ramsey, they're going to be very slow to do this even if they do it. Because they don't actually have to do it. Because there's a lot of teams out there, they're not going to, if Jalen Ramsey was going to be gone, Jalen Ramsey would already be gone. They're not going to do the Jalen Ramsey thing. The Cowboys can wait on Jalen Ramsey. They don't have to get Jalen Ramsey like that. Let's see. I'm telling you what the Cowboys are hoping. Let's look at that defensive back room again as we are talking about Ramsey, and then we're going to move to the Cowboys coaches. But let's look at that defensive back room because I'm telling you what the Cowboys, it's obvious what the Cowboys are hoping. Trayvon Diggs is not a long-term plan, even if he comes back. Trayvon Diggs is not. If there's one contract the Cowboys did perfect, it was Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs got a lot of his money up front. The Cowboys haven't went in there and did anything on Trayvon Diggs' deal where they're touching it, moving money down the road, nothing. No, the Cowboys are going to be able to get a clean break from Trayvon Diggs, and I believe they're going to take it. Trayvon Diggs, I do think, will come back at some point this season, and I do think the Cowboys will allow him to be a part of the game plan. But what the Cowboys are hoping Savon Revel Jr. And if he goes according to plan, Savon Revel Jr. should be healthy. And if the Savon Revel Jr. is healthy, they want Savon Revel Jr. to play on the outside. Number 2, I said this when they got this guy, Kaiir Elam. Do not be fooled by the fact the Cowboys didn't pick up his 5th-year option. No, the Cowboys were just saying that 5th-year option is too much. We're not picking it up. They want Kaiir Elam to be a part of the plan too and also play on the outside. Kaiir Elam and Savon Revel Jr. And what they're wanting as their Jordan Lewis replacement is none other than Israel Mukamu. They want him to be that slot so they can move. In some respects, they're going to be able to move Deron Bland back outside if need be. So the Cowboys are hoping that they have their defensive back room, and they're hoping the guys they have are going to be successful. Kalen Carson, don't forget, the Cowboys drafted him. They want him to be successful. Josh Butler was looking pretty good until he got the injury. So the Cowboys got guys. They got guys. Keenan Hall, another nickelback. So the Cowboys have people, and they want these guys to be successful. They want them to be successful. Not to mention the UDFAs they have. The Cowboys got a stacked, I'm not sure what it is, but they have a stacked defensive back room. And so if you could just make do with Savon Revel Jr., and I'm not even saying make do, if Savon Revel Jr. is what people think he's going to be, don't forget, Trayvon Diggs, he started as a rookie. People start rookie cornerbacks all the time. If Savon Revel Jr. is ready, I believe the Cowboys are going to say, this dude's starting. Kaiir Elam, this dude's starting. Deron Bland, okay. Deron, we're not going to cheat you out of your money. You're still an outside cornerback. Just play inside for us for maybe on certain situations. These 3 guys are going to get work on the outside, and I do think Israel will be I think he'll be the slot guy. Maybe if there are some 4 wide receiver sets, maybe Deron Bland moves inside for those. But again, they're going to work between Kaiir Elam, Deron Bland, Izzy, and Savon Revel Jr. I think that's what they're hoping. And if need be, I think they'll go get Stephon Gilmore before they get Jalen Ramsey. I do. I think they'll get Stephon Gilmore before they get Jalen Ramsey because Stephon Gilmore he's cheaper and he's still got some skill. And I think the Cowboys' goal is to improve the secondary room they already have, and Gilly can help them do that. George Pickens, Iceberg Slim say 80% of Randy Moss. Man, if you anywhere near 80% of Randy Moss, boy, you're a beast. No doubt. And I think he's going to be a beast with Dak Prescott. No doubt about it. But again, I appreciate the discussion. The Jalen Ramsey thing, like I said, boy, it's great talk. Boy, it really is. The Jalen Ramsey thing is great talk. Just don't think it's going to happen. $21 million for Jalen Ramsey. I'm not sure that's going to work out. I'm just not sure that's going to work out, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to do it. Poobie D, he says he thinks Joe Milton might be our transition quarterback after Dak. Well, I tell you this, Poobie D, if he does, he's going to have to hang around till he's about 28, 29 years old, and I don't think he's going to have that kind of patience. I really don't. I don't think he's going to have that kind of patience. It makes me wonder why he wanted to come to Dallas. I'm pretty sure somebody told him that Dak Prescott injured, something to that effect. But again, Dak Prescott comes off these injuries, man, and he's really good. So, Matt D, he said, man, Deuce Vaughn has taken a beating the past couple of weeks. Hey, and Matt D, I don't know if he's taking a beating. I just don't think he's the player for the Cowboys. I think we're going to hear about Deuce Vaughn being good on somebody else's team and not us. Same thing with Hunter Lipke. Hunter Lipke just may not fit into the plan. Ratio said Milton will be here for another 3 years. Yeah, we'll see. Because I'll tell you straight up, Ratio. If Joe Milton develops and he's good, how in the world is he going to be here for 3 years? I know the Cowboys will own the rights, but how will he be here 3 years? Because if a team comes knocking on the door offering you draft picks for him, you're not going to take them? I think that's one of the things that may happen. Keek said Solomon Thomas will thrive this year. I think so too. Daniel Lim said, keep it 100 in here. This wait and see approach is not the way to go. I think Daniel Lim, on some of these guys, you're going to have to wait and see. You just have so much invested in them, you're going to have to wait and see. You think about it. Tyler Guyton, he's a wait and see. I mean, there's no other way to slice it on Tyler Guyton. He's a wait and see. And, you know, I guess we got Austin Richards, and that's one of the reasons why we're not as concerned. And we also got the option of moving Tyler Smith, so we think we can take care of that. But, you know, you think about Mozzie Smith. The reality is Mozzie Smith is a wait and see. And I agree with you. I see what you're saying too, Daniel Lim. That's one of the reasons why everyone is saying we don't want to wait and see on Mozzie Smith. Everybody is saying on Mozzie Smith, no, we'd rather get DJ Reader and then see. That's what people are saying about Mozzie Smith. They don't want to wait. They want to get somebody and see. And I see what you're saying at the cornerback position. You're basically saying you want to get somebody and see. But again, I also think if Jalen Ramsey comes in here, as much as we're discussing the defensive backs or the cornerbacks, I don't think he comes in as a cornerback. I don't think Jalen Ramsey comes in as a cornerback because he can't play as good at cornerback anymore. But as a safety, he'd be crazy. He'd be crazy. Chanel, he said, William Jones, please don't bring that kind of heat in this chat. He says, it sounds like crazy crack talking that smoke. Relax with that. Dak is on this team. Dak is on this team because he balls out. The playoffs are Dak's kryptonite. And Chanel, I don't think the playoffs are Dak's kryptonite. I think the playoffs are this team's kryptonite. This team gets to the playoffs, and they all say, Dak or nothing. They all say it. Michael Parsons just said this the other day. Oh, with Dak healthy and having George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, like when Coop came in 2019, our run game was fluid. He said, we'll be all right. That's what they do. Brian's got to get that out of this team. Brian has got to get out of this team that when it gets to the playoffs, it's Dak or nothing. No, it's got to be more than Dak. Need playmakers. Roland Rothschild, appreciate you. He said, great profile video on Mozzie Smith. Appreciate you. I'm going to do 3 more today on these players we're about to talk about.
Yes! Here we go!
All right, guys. This right here will probably be a heavy discussion. So I got a feeling we may not get through all of our topics today. So if we don't, we'll save them for tomorrow. We'll save the rest of them for tomorrow, along with any current news that may come up. But this part right here is going to be a big discussion that I want to have today. Let me put this agenda up on the screen. Like I said, I messed up on trying to put this one together. Okay. All right. I've been software struggling today, boy. Y'all forgive me, man. This stuff is struggling over here. I don't know what's going on today. All right. But what we're going to do, I was trying to move over to my agenda, but we're going to, what is going on with this stuff today, man? All right, here we go. So where we're going to go next before we go to the rookie coaches, which we may not be able to get to today, because I do think this may be a pretty good discussion. It all depends. We may get to a couple more. But this one right here is going to be a really good discussion for us today. I want to talk about these 3 players that are on the bubble. Man, I got all my software going on the fritz today. We'll get this thing. I want to do some off the screen stuff and fix this for our next show. But again, I want to talk about these 3 players that they absolutely must have a breakout season. And the reason why they must have a breakout season, they're in contract years. They're in contract years. They are in contract years. And let's look at the first one. And a lot of y'all already know who it is by looking at the picture.
Yes! Here we go!
Jake Ferguson. Excuse me. Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson has to have a monster season. And the reason why Jake Ferguson has to have a monster season, Jake Ferguson has quietly come into his contract year. Jake Ferguson is in a contract year. It says Jake Ferguson enters Cowboys contract year with much to prove. Yeah, he's in a contract year. And so because he's in a contract year, he's got to ball out. Unless the Cowboys keep him on the cheap. Because you could keep him on the cheap if he doesn't ball out. It says his Dallas Cowboys breakout sophomore campaign in 2023. 71 catches, 761 yards, 5 touchdowns, position him for a long-term consideration. He's the reason why we let Dalton Schultz walk. He was supposed to be that next one. But the problem is, his 2024 season, it says he fell short of expectations. And so he finds himself in a contract season. And of course, it says that Brad Sham asked Dak, how close do you think Ferguson is to being a playmaker? And Dak said he's close to being a big-time playmaker. Nice to have my own preconceived notions verified by the man himself. This is age like fine wine, just ask Travis Kelce. But again, when you think about this in the grand scheme of things, as it applies to Ferguson, well, last year, I'm not going to say he fell off a cliff. He was injured. We also got to realize that Cooper Rush was the quarterback. But I'm telling this man, Ferguson has to have a monster year. He has to have a monster year. It says Ferguson played nearly half of last season without Dak Prescott. Yeah, battled through head and knee injuries and still held his own as a reliable underneath option and capable inline blocker. His production took a step back, but not because the talent disappeared. Well, we're going to see, because this is a contract season for him. It says statistically, Ferguson's 2023 numbers mirror those of Cole Kmet, who parlayed his performance into a 4-year, $50 million extension with Chicago. Kmet, 73 receptions, 719 yards, 6 touchdowns. Ferguson, 71, 761, and 5. Both starter level numbers at a position where versatility matters more than stat lines. But the market is evolving. Along with the Niners' George Kittle, Trey McBride just helped reset the tight end money world, signing a 4-year, $76 million extension APY after back-to-back elite seasons. 81, 825, and 3 in 2023. A monster, 111, 1,122 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2024. That is massive productivity right there, man. Ferguson's ceiling doesn't sit at McBride's level. But you don't have to lead the league in receptions to get paid a tight end. You just have to produce, hold your own as a blocker, and help your quarterback win games. Jake Ferguson is in for the battle of his life. Jake Ferguson is in for the battle of his life. And the reason why Jake Ferguson is in for the battle of his life is that there are other tight ends on this team. There are other tight ends on this team with the potential to be good. With the potential to be good. And I think there's something else working against him. Ever so often, do y'all ever notice the name Kyle Pitts gets attached to the Cowboys? Kyle Pitts, that name keeps coming up. If Kyle Pitts were to be available, let's say at the end of this season, Kyle Pitts is available. Are you extending Ferguson and saying no on Kyle Pitts? Not only that, when you look at the Cowboys depth chart, Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker, Brevin Spanford. Schoonmaker looked a lot better last year. Spanford looked a lot better last year. These two undrafted free agents. Tyler Neville. Keep your ears and eyes open to this guy. Very athletic tight end. Very athletic tight end. All he needs to do is learn the pro game. Rivaldo Fairweather. Rivaldo Fairweather can be a very productive tight end. Ferguson's going to have some competition. Again, what he's going to have on his side is the fact that Dak Prescott likes him. George Pickens is now out there on the outside. So he is going to have an opportunity. But these other guys are going to have an opportunity too because they will see the field. Jake Ferguson got to turn it on this season. Jake Ferguson has really got to turn it on. I think he has to have a monster year. It would behoove him that if he wants a big-time deal with the Cowboys, he's got to have close to a 1,000-yard season. Y'all tell me what you think on Jake Ferguson. But Jake Ferguson, man, he got to produce. Jake Ferguson got to produce big because George Pickens is going to open up so much of this field for players like him that when he gets his opportunities, he better capitalize. If he doesn't capitalize, he's got some competition. And who knows what's going to come, what is going to come available as we get closer to the preseason and the preseason being over with. So Ferguson got to do his thing. Y'all talking about Ramsey. Cowboys can make this work. If Randy is designated as the post-June 1st trade, the cap relief would be $9.9 million for next season. Now, here's another problem with what you just said. What are you trading for Jalen Ramsey? What are you trading for Jalen Ramsey? The Cowboys have already given up a couple of draft picks. Let me see here. Let's see. The Cowboys will have 2 compensatory draft picks in 2026 in the 5th round, it says. The Cowboys have already traded away their 3rd round in 2026. So what are you trading for? What are you giving? What are you trading for Jalen Ramsey? What draft pick are you giving? So would we be willing to give a 4th round draft pick for Jalen Ramsey, who very well is probably going to be a 1-year rental? I mean, you mess around and give away a 3rd and a 4th. And I don't think you take a chance on giving away a 4th for Jalen Ramsey. I just don't think you take a chance on it, especially on somebody who could be a 1-year rental. Or the Miami Dolphins going to take a 5th or a 6th. So the Cowboys are going to give up a 5th, a 4th, a 5th, or a 6th, plus take on his $21 million contract. I don't think it's going to happen. I do not think it's going to happen on Jalen Ramsey. And I'd be surprised if the Cowboys were really even considering it very seriously. When I believe you can get Stephon Gilmore cheap. And how much better will the production be from Jalen Ramsey over Stephon Gilmore? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to eat it. Rollins mentions that Joe Milton will not have to wait. He's going to steal Dak's thunder. Not going to happen. Dak didn't actually steal Romo's thunder. Romo got injured. If Romo doesn't get injured, Dak doesn't take Romo's spot. Dak doesn't take Romo's spot. And don't forget, Roland, it wasn't just Romo that got injured. Kellen Moore got injured. That's the part that people don't talk about in that story. Romo and Kellen Moore got injured. It's not going to happen unless Dak gets injured. If Dak stays healthy, there'll be no Joe Milton. Joe Milton will be relegated to the bench. There'll be no Joe Milton. And if Dak goes on a 3-year run of being healthy, like he did from the previous injury, if Dak goes on a 3-year run of being healthy, you're not going to see Joe Milton until he's 29 years old. And if Joe Milton came here with that attitude, he's not going to last. There is one thing we know about quarterbacks, especially after you pay them. Unless that quarterback falls off a cliff, and I mean not a cliff, he got to fall off of a doggone mountain, you're not taking his spot. You're not taking his spot. And Joe Milton needs a lot of work. Joe Milton don't need a little work. Joe Milton needs a lot of work. Joe Milton is not the quarterback you bring in the situation the Cowboys are in now. The Cowboys are in win now mode. Joe Milton isn't capable of being in win now mode because Joe Milton needs too much development. A win now quarterback is one that don't need to be developed. A win now quarterback is one who already can make all the throws, who can already he can make all the throws. He can make the touch passes. He can read defenses like the back of his hands. He's seen everything. So that win now quarterback is Dak Prescott. Joe Milton is not a win now quarterback. And again, Roland, let's use logic. So based on what you're saying, if Joe Milton is that good, you're telling me nobody was willing to give up a third? Nobody was willing to give up a third. And do not believe this bogus story. The New England Patriots could have got a better draft pick for Joe Milton III. But instead, they let him go where he wanted to go. That is bogus, and it's a lie. The New England Patriots had that third round tender on Joe Milton III for months, and nobody bit. Nobody bit. Nobody was biting on a third. Nobody was biting on a fourth. The only thing they could be talking about is a fifth, because no team in their right mind is going to handicap their own incoming new head coach in Mike Vrabel and you're going to have the unmitigated gall to tell Vrabel, hey, we want you to come in here and win a Super Bowl. By the way, Joe Milton, who's done absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things, we're going to give up a third round draft pick and let the Dallas Cowboys take Joe Milton III. Explain to me, why would you do that again? No, that is not what New England did. That is not what New England did. There was nobody willing to give up a third, a fourth, and I even dare say a fifth. Nobody was willing to give it up. Nobody was willing to give it up. And there were teams out there that need a quarterback. Because if we're saying, I don't even think we realize what we say sometimes. So if this dude is better than Dak Prescott, and nobody's going to tell you that. Nobody who really knows this game is going to tell you that. But if Joe Milton is better than Dak Prescott, he's better than Cam Ward. Joe Milton is better than every quarterback that was drafted this year. Hands down, if he's better than Dak Prescott. He's better than every quarterback drafted. Why were teams not beating down New England's door saying, hey, and everybody knows, who didn't say, this is a weak draft class for quarterbacks? A lot of people were saying they didn't even have a first-round grade on Shedeur Sanders. And some people are saying that Cam Ward in any other draft wouldn't have been the number one overall quarterback. People are saying this stuff. Joe Milton is bigger, faster, stronger than Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Bigger, faster, stronger than all these quarterbacks that came out. If he's better than Dak Prescott, why did none of those teams beat the door down to get him? Because I promise you, if Dak Prescott would have been on the open market this year, there would have been a bidding war for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was getting $60 million, whether it was with the Cowboys or anybody else. I bet you Kellen Moore don't let Dak Prescott sit out there. I bet you the Giants wouldn't have let Dak Prescott sit out there. I bet you the Cleveland Browns wouldn't have let Dak Prescott sit out there. Man, there are some teams with quarterbacks that would have said, we'll take Dak Prescott and we'll do whatever with our quarterback. We'll trade him or whatever. No, we're not. We're saying things that are not true. We're saying things that are not true. Every other team out there has the same access and have had the same access to Joe Milton III's tape. They had it the year he was drafted. They had it from last year. They all saw the Buffalo game, and anybody who got sense in the Buffalo game, they're not putting stock in that game. It was a basic bye week for the Buffalo Bills, period. People tried to put stock into a Buffalo game like he went out there and beat Josh Allen in their AFC Championship defense. He did not do that. And if Joe Milton III is better than Dak Prescott, then I'm telling us now, every one of these teams this year in the draft, they made a huge mistake. Because they could have got Joe Milton III for a third-round draft pick before the draft even came. And rather than picking a quarterback, they could have went out and improved the offensive line to put in front of him or improved the defensive line to put opposite of him. Joe Milton III, man, that's not the right comment. I mean, I appreciate the comment, but it's not true. Joe Milton III is exactly what he is, a backup quarterback that needs development. And again, I love how everybody's talking about Joe Milton. I want to see if he beats out Will Grier. Because we were saying the same thing about Trey Lance. Didn't beat out Cooper Rush. Even though I would have rather seen Trey Lance, didn't beat out Cooper Rush. And we got to see if Joe Milton, I just want them to let this kid develop. But he's not Dak Prescott's replacement. He's not. Donovan Smith is on this team too. Donovan Smith, he's another big quarterback. He's big like Joe Milton. I'm not sure he has the arm that he can, quote-unquote, throw an orange 100 yards. But who cares about throwing oranges 100 yards? You're not throwing oranges, you're throwing footballs. But Milton ain't beating out nobody. He couldn't beat out the quarterback in New England. Problem was he thought he beat him out, but he didn't beat him out. And even after that, people still had that tape, and they didn't go get it. No, Milton is not going to replace Dak Prescott unless Dak Prescott gets hurt, and even then, he's going to have to beat out Will Grier. He's got to beat him out. But Grier ain't what you say he is. Chanel said, True G, he said, you're right in that regard. He said, I was saying what the networks labeled him as is not my thoughts. The team failed, as I told you, in 4 playoff games. Michael, no sacks, a big 0. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, the kryptonite is the teams. The kryptonite for the Cowboys in the playoffs, it's the team. The playoffs are the team's kryptonite. You go back and look at some of Dak's playoff performances, they were not bad at all. Just couldn't make plays, couldn't make certain stops. Hallelujah. He said, can we just love watching our team play and want them to win? He said, why do we have to be Super Bowl horny every year? He said, some of y'all worse than the Jets fans. Hallelujah. What we're watching right now, we're going to see flashes, but we got to let it develop. We have to let it develop. And we're going to make sure we're going to fit time in to talk about this whole thing about about these rookie coaches. And we'll talk about what you're talking about with Brian Schottenheimer. But again, Roland, I appreciate that comment. But he's not going to replace Dak Prescott. That's not what they're going to do. You don't pay a quarterback $231 million and then let a guy come in who was a 6th-round draft pick who nobody was willing to give up a 3rd-round pick for, and then you come in and say he's the savior of the franchise. No, Joe Milton is not a win-now quarterback. All right. And again, man, my software today has been tripping. I got to see if there's an update to this thing. All right, so let's go back to these 3 players. So again, man, Jake Ferguson, man, he's got to have a big season. There's another player that has to have a big season. And I first had Sam Williams here, and I still have Sam Williams as an honorable mention. Sam Williams needs to have a big season. The Cowboys drafted Sam Williams. He played 22 and 23. I think he only has, 8.5 sacks over those 2 seasons. Didn't play last season because of an injury. And what the players the Cowboys have picked up since Sam Williams has been injured, Sam Williams is an honorable mention. He's got to have a big season too. He's in danger of being cut, but he's not in a contract season. At least as far as I can tell, he's not in the contract season. But the next player that has to have a huge season And a lot of people, I believe, had almost pretty much forgot about this guy. And his name is Damone Clark.
Yes! Here we go!
Damone Clark has to have a humongous season. Damone Clark has to have a humongous season. It has not been good for Damone Clark. I mean, this dude has been here, but he can't stay on the field. He's been here. But when you look at him on the depth chart, man, he's way down there. He way down there. 2022, he played 10 games. 2023, he played 17. 2024, he played 14. And when you look at his performance in 2024, I don't even understand this. It said that he played 14 games. Looks like he started only 2. So he played in 14, but he started 2. This dude had 28 tackles, man. 28 tackles, 16 solo, 12 assisted. The year before, he had a breakout season, 109 tackles, 70 solo, 39, 4 tackles for loss. I mean, this dude fell off a cliff. 3 quarterback hits in 2023. I mean, this dude fell off a cliff. He fell off a cliff, guys. I mean, 28, 16 and 12, 16 solo, 12 assists. 2024, he's in a contract year. And the problem with Damone Clark, I don't even think he gets the opportunity to bounce back. I don't even think he gets the opportunity to bounce back because of this year in 2024. I don't even think he gets the opportunity. Because when you look at this Cowboys linebacker room, I don't think he gets the opportunity. Kenneth Murray Jr., Overshown will be back maybe this year. You got Maurice. You got Jack Sanborn. You got Shamar James. And I'm telling us, they are really blowing up Justin Barron. Justin Barron is going to get an opportunity in training camp, and he's going to get an opportunity in the preseason. Damone Clark, man, he may be cut. Damone Clark has to have a huge season. But the question is, how does he even get up here to even get the opportunity? Damone Clark might be a casualty. He might not, like I said, he might not even get the opportunity to have a big season. He's got to have a big training camp. Because if he don't have a big training camp, he done. He is absolutely, I believe Damone Clark is absolutely done. Y'all tell me what you think. I think Damone Clark is absolutely done with the Cowboys. Cowboys' best bet with Damone Clark is probably trading him. Finding somebody they can trade with him, get a trade for him. Because I just don't think he gets an opportunity to get back on the field with everything in front of him. I don't. I don't think he beats out Sanborn. I don't think he beats out Kenneth Murray Jr. Damone Clark got to have a monster season. Y'all tell me what you think. All right, let me read some of the stuff y'all talking about with Ferguson, and then I'll wait on you to comment on. I'll wait on you guys to comment on Damone Clark. Matt Deese, I agree with Ferg. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt from last year, but he needs to turn it up this season. Yeah, and I think it's time to move on from Schoolmaker. He's had time to move on. Hey man, he that Michigan product. They may give him another opportunity, though. Yeah, C-Base said Milton is not better. He's not taking Dak's place. No, he's here to be a backup. And Dallas in 3 years of Dak last. Yeah. And again, C-Base. I hate to be, I don't know what to tell people. But if you look at Dak Prescott's deal, I don't think that deal is made to retire. If Dak is still playing at a top level, I will not be surprised if the Cowboys extend that deal another 2 years. I just wouldn't be surprised. The Cowboys probably want Dak to retire a Dallas Cowboy rather than going and play somewhere else. John Scott, I don't think so. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, you're not taking Dak's spot. And I don't even think Dak's spot is getting taken at the end of that doggone contract. If Dak is still playing at a high level, I think they'll just extend it. And if they get a chip like I think they will in 2026 or either 2027, 2028 at the latest, you're not going to get rid of Dak Prescott. You're not going to do it. They'll extend him again another 2 years. I believe they will. But again, I don't think Damone Clark is going to get an opportunity to get back on the field for the Dallas Cowboys. I really don't. I don't. They're going to have to probably trade Damone Clark. And then the final player, and let me see, I got a couple more things on Damone Clark. There was a very good article on him. Let's check the article out. Damone Clark. This was April 21st, 2025. I think it was a little bit maybe prior to, I know it was prior. Okay, it was after the draft. Yeah, it was after the draft, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was prior to the draft. Prior to the draft. But I just think Damone Clark, man, he's fighting a losing battle. And they're saying here, while the Cowboys weren't exactly quiet during free agency this spring, there is still plenty of work to do for this team that finished 7-10. Not only did they add some players, key players in free agency and via trades, they also re-signed some of the core depth as well. Still, there are other guys on this team that must take that next step in order for the Cowboys to be successful in 2025. I don't know if Damone Clark needs to take another step for the Cowboys to be successful. They already have the players. They have players that have jumped over him on the depth chart. It says being snake bitten as a linebacker has unfortunately been a recurring theme for the Cowboys. From the days of Dat Wynn to Sean Lee and most recently to the premature end of Leighton Vander Esch. Yeah. Clark was added to the roster as a fifth-round pick in 2022 after a sensational collegiate career at LSU with the hopes of him helping to stabilize the position. But he also battled a major injury. You know, the Cowboys' MO signing somebody off an injury. And before he stepped foot onto an NFL football field, it was discovered in his pre-draft medical checks by the Cowboys that he had an issue that would require spinal fusion surgery, and so he'd undergo it. Be drafted by the Cowboys and bucked the odds by making his rookie debut in October, months ahead of most people's predicted timeline. And I'm always wondering this with the Cowboys. Sometimes I wonder if these players come back too fast. You know, you get these players, they come back fast, and they don't last. Vander Esch was having neck injuries when the Cowboys drafted him. Those neck injuries weren't new. He was having neck issues at Boise State. Cowboys drafted him, and it reared its ugly head down the road. And I wonder about Damone Clark. You know, he got back early, had that great season, but I'm just wondering kind of what's the long-term thing of this. It says things were looking up for Clark, but it says inconsistency crept in. And he ran into a brick wall with the name Mike Zimmer spray painted on it. It says Clark and Zimmer could not come to terms on how he should be used in 2024, and that led to career lows across the board, including being active in only 2 games with 0 starts, unable to break through the wall, even after the Cowboys lost Demarion Overshown. Wow, to season-ending knee injury. Clark finds himself in a position wherein the wall is now gone. No, it's up again. Matt Eberflus taking over as defensive coordinator and with a very real opportunity to send a message in 2025. I don't think so. Nope. I think with what the Cowboys did in free agency, he's in trouble again. I think he's in trouble again. He's going to literally have to work himself up the depth chart. He's going to have to work himself up the depth chart because the question becomes, where does he get the reps? It says, look, Eric Kendricks remains unsigned at the time of this column being written. The Cowboys have seemingly replaced him with moves like the trade for Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, Now they have Shamar James. And Sanborn is Eberflus's guy. You better believe Matt Eberflus has already got his mind on one Jack Sanborn. And so the onus is on Clark to disrupt those pre-packaged plans in Dallas as best he can. They've already, former third-round pick Maurice Leafau sits atop all linebacker plans at the moment, at least presumably. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know how he's going to do it. He got to find ways to get on the field. I don't know how he's going to do it. I think Damone Clark, man, I think Damone Clark. Y'all tell me what you think on Damone Clark, man. I don't know how Damone Clark going to do it. I don't know how he going to do it. I don't know how Damone Clark going to pull it off. I don't. Damone Clark is fighting an uphill battle as it applies to trying to get on the field for the Cowboys, man. He is literally fighting an uphill battle, and I don't know if he can win it. I really don't. I don't know if he's going to be able to win it. I think Damone Clark will either be cut or traded. I don't even think he'll get an opportunity to be on the field for the Cowboys. I don't even think he gets an opportunity to be on the field. And then, of course, last but not least, I think this one goes without being said. Jalen Tolbert. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man, again, after looking at Jalen Tolbert, looking at his separation numbers on Pro Football Focus, looking at his overall stats, Jalen Tolbert, in the grand scheme of things, Dak Prescott missed what? 7.5 games. Jalen Tolbert was still able to get 610 yards, 49 receptions, 7 touchdowns. I mean, when you think about the fact that he didn't play with Dak Prescott the whole season, those numbers aren't bad. He was only 390 yards away. He was only 390 yards away from literally getting 1,000 yards. I mean, he wasn't gonna get it with Cooper Rush, but he was literally 390 yards away. Jalen Tolbert didn't have. I think the problem is with Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert didn't have what we call a number 2 receiver season. But if you told me that Jalen Tolbert was the 3rd wide receiver, these numbers look good. These numbers look pretty good if you're the 3rd wide receiver. 7 touchdowns? The issue is these are being compared to number 2 receivers, and that's just not it. That's just not it. And that's the issue. But again, I just wonder about some of this with Cooper Rush. Even Troy Aikman was commenting on the fact that Cooper Rush could barely throw the ball past 10 yards. That hurt a lot of these receivers. And if your name wasn't CeeDee Lamb, you were not getting the ball thrown to you. You were not getting the ball thrown to you. So again, it goes without saying, Jalen Tolbert, man. Jalen Tolbert got to have a huge season. He does. And let me ask y'all a question. Y'all tell me this in the chat. So, think about this. If Jalen Tolbert, with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, if Jalen Tolbert has 49 receptions, 610 yards, and 7 touchdowns, with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens both having over 1,000 yards, with, let's say, 7 or 8 touchdowns, would you consider this to be a bad season with those 2 receivers in the mix? Because I think this would be a great season if George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are doing everything that we think they can do, this would be a great season for your third wide receiver. But again, man, with the weapons and the way the Cowboys are going to be able to probably run the ball, the Cowboys, I mean, if they don't have three 1,000-yard receivers, I do think that Jake Ferguson may have a really good year. 800-900 yards, somewhere in there. Probably around 60, 70 receptions. Because, again, he should be open. I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Tolbert at least matches this productivity, because I could see where he could still get 49 receptions, especially now that you got CeeDee and George Pickens. I could see him amass that over this season. And if he was to get that same productivity, I think it would be great. I think it would be absolutely great with those two receivers. But again, we've already talked about Jalen Tolbert before. But what these three players all have in common, they all have contract years. And they all have players that are now on the team that are going to give them some strong competition. Now, the one who I think has the least competition is Jake Ferguson. The one who I think and I don't know if he has the most, I think both of them are tied. Jalen Tolbert and Damone Clark. When you look at the depth chart, they both have tremendous competition. Tremendous. When you look at Jalen Tolbert, Mingo, Paris Campbell, they are talking about Jalen Cropper. We have not forgot about our man Ryan Flanoy. We're going to see if Trayshawn Holden can work his way up out of the ashes. But Jalen Tolbert, man, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. 5 wide receivers nipping at the bud. Jake Ferguson, to me, Jake Ferguson doesn't have what I would call ferocious competition. I don't think Schoonmaker is ferocious competition for him. I think Spanford is, and I don't think Spanford is as much competition as much as he is. Spanford could earn some reps. John Stevens Jr., Rivaldo Fairweather, Tyler Neville, they got some ways to work themselves up, but I do think that one of them could very well find themselves with a spot on this team. But I don't see Ferguson's competition nowhere close to Jalen Tolbert and Damone Clark. His is equally as difficult. Overshown. He'll be back. But let's just say at the beginning of the season even, he ain't beating out Murray. I don't think he'll get the opportunity to beat out Murray unless he just tears it up in training camp. I don't think he's beating out Murray. I don't think he's beating out Sanborn. I don't think he's beating out Maurice. Shamar James is going to work himself into some type of rotation. I'm sorry, but Damone Clark may find himself being the odd man out depending upon how many linebackers they carry. And if he does make the team, it may just be special teams. Damone Clark and Jalen Tolbert, man, they got their work cut out for them. They have their work cut out for them. And I would even give Jalen Tolbert the edge over even Damone Clark simply because Jalen Tolbert, as you guys mentioned earlier, Dak Prescott likes Jalen Tolbert. I believe the front office likes Jalen Tolbert. So I think it's Jalen Tolbert's job to lose more than Damone Clark's job to lose, because Damone Clark has already lost the job. He lost it before these guys even got here. He lost the job. Let me let you guys catch up where I was on Tolbert. 70s fantasy, he said, I understand you hating on Damone Clark. I'm not hating on him. No, I'm not hating on him. I'm just stating the facts on him, 70s fan. Good to see you in here today. He said, but give him a break. He had his back fused, and 70s fan. That's exactly what I said before I even read your comment. I just wonder if these people come back too early. It seems like there's a trend with the Cowboys that some of these players come back way too early. And I'm just wondering if he came back too early. Okay, he had that great season in 2023, but then in 2024, it just didn't work. It just didn't work, and he couldn't work his way back up. And so now he's found himself at the end of the depth chart, and I just don't think he's going to be able to work his way back up there. I don't believe he's going to be able to do it. I don't even know if he'll get the opportunity. LT Ray, Jay said if Dak couldn't beat out Kellen Moore, why is Dak still in the NFL and Moore coaching? Moore's only 5 years older than Dak. Yeah, he wasn't better than Dak. Yep, he was not better than Dak. Hey, D Shift, you said sometimes you get the thumbnail confused for some of those channels. All good though. Okay. Are you talking about the thumbnails on the YouTube video? Because I'm gonna tell you this, bro. I've noticed some of them doggone spam channels have stole some of my thumbnails, man. And I stole some of my thumbnails. Man, I be looking, I be like, that's not my video. But they take my thumbnails. Roland said Damon Clark has a compromised spine. Wow. Yeah. Roland, I wonder if he came back too early. I wonder if he came back too early. I do. I think he came back too early. Yeah, C-Bay said I said Clark was finished last year. Yeah, man, I just wonder. Yeah, I just wonder. Iceberg Slim, and they talking about Josh Barron. They talking about this dude gonna be nice. He's one of them players that a lot of that they've been talking about that not only is gonna make this team, but he's gonna have an opportunity to make some noise. Madman said Clark better than Harrison Johnson. Why would you cut Clark? Okay, let's look at the thing here. And again, it all depends on how many linebackers they're going to carry. I don't know how many they carry. But again, if he does make the team, and again, here's the problem, Madman. Overshown, spot is here. Murray, starter. Maurice might turn out to be a starter. Jack Sanborn, he's going to be in some type of rotation. Shamar James is going to be in the rotation. Now, here becomes the problem. Justin Barron. Madman, I'm telling you, to what they've been talking about this dude, Justin Barron, I think he makes the team over Damone Clark. I think he's going to make the team over Damone Clark. If the Cowboys mess around and they don't sign Justin Barron and try to let him see, let him be out there and then they get him to the practice squad, he don't make the practice squad. Some team will pick him up. I'm telling you, man, people are talking about this dude, Justin Barron, and he got if not the highest, one of the highest UDFA contracts out there and on the Dallas Cowboys team. No, he making the team. He making the team. Yeah, Damone Clark, man, I just don't think he's going to get the opportunity because he's going to fall outside of these six. Demarion Overshown's, his position is there. And I don't think they're going to carry more than six linebackers. At least I don't think they are. I don't think there'll be a spot for him. Yeah, I think Damone Clark might find himself as the odd man out, man. Yeah, Iceberg Slim. They've been talking about this guy, man, this Barron guy from Syracuse, man. They say this dude is nice. The ghost of Mike McCarthy, he said, I don't think that. Man, I got to laugh at your name every time I say it. He said, I don't think D. Clark qualifies as a player that other teams would look to trade and lose either draft or financial capital on. I think he may just get cut. I don't think he makes the squad, man. But hey, I want to see what he does. I hope he plays. And the issue is, I don't think he's going to get the opportunity unless he makes some serious noise. Jason Barnes, he said no one thought Dak was taking Romo's job. Yeah, but I think the situation is different. Jason Barnes, you got to understand something about Romo, bro. The dude did not take care of his body. Romo did not take care of his body, man. He just didn't. He didn't take care of his body. That was one of the knocks on Romo. He just didn't take care of his body. And it was no wonder, and he was already beat to heck, man. I mean, he was already beat up. So when he went down, it was no surprise that when he went down, he got hurt like he did. Romo just didn't take care of his body. Dak Prescott's different. He takes care of his body. And Dak Prescott, I believe Dak is going to have another really great three to 4 years under Brian Schottenheimer, because Brian Schottenheimer's scheme is going to keep Dak Prescott out of harm's way more than most people believe. Dave Polk said, we're certainly not letting go of Ferg unless Spanford goes nuts. Hey, and again, what if Kyle Pitts? Man, I keep hearing Kyle Pitts every year. You never know. Madman said, up to speed. You don't cut players when they can be great depth instead of this trash. Boy, I feel you on that part, Madman. Yeah. The issue is I don't know if some of these guys I don't know if some of them going to clear the practice squad stuff, though. Yeah, I don't think they're going to clear it. Yeah, Roland, I like what you said. It's not unrealistic. There is an unrealistic romantic attachment to Dak Prescott. Every dog has their expiration date. Dak is no spring chicken. Yeah, but he's only 31 years old. That's young for the quarterback. Not all these other positions, but the quarterback, man, these dudes playing with the way the rules are, man, he dudes playing the 36, 37, 38, 39. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers out here waiting on old Aaron Rodgers. No, that's not old in quarterback years. That's not old in quarterback years. Yeah, Dak Prescott, I think the question with Dak Prescott is, will Dak Prescott play after the Cowboys? Will he play after the Cowboys? Because if the Dallas Cowboys have something to do with it, Dak Prescott's not playing for another team. I'm just telling us, book it. Book it. That contract is not designed to get from under. It is not designed like that. That contract is designed for Dak Prescott to retire a Dallas Cowboy. And I will not be surprised when you look at the end of that contract. I will not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys extend Dak Prescott a couple more years. And if Dak Prescott gets a Super Bowl within these next 3 seasons with Brian Schottenheimer, book it. They will extend him an additional 2 years to make sure he retires a Dallas Cowboy. They will make sure he retires a Dallas Cowboy. The only way Dak Prescott doesn't retire a Dallas Cowboy, Dak Prescott falls off a cliff. I do not believe Dak Prescott's going to fall off a cliff. He's not. He's not going to fall off a cliff. I don't think it's going to happen. Dak's here to stay for the long haul. All right, so that was it on those 3 players. Again, y'all tell me what you think about Tolbert. Jason, what do you think? If Tolbert has statistically with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens the statistics he had last year, would you not consider that to be good? Because I would consider that to be doggone good. If he got toes, if he repeated that, man, that would be great. Rollins, Tolbert, boy, y'all killed me. Angie gave him the name Tolbert. Angie branded him, brings nothing unique to his current offense. Trade him to some other team if they'll return a 5th. I'm just saying, man, if he gets the same amount of yards he got this year with those guys, I think he'll get a contract. Won't be a big one, but I think he'll get a contract. Iceberg Slim. Iceberg Slim says Jalen Tolbert will play at the level of wide receiver 2 this year. Book it. Let me tell you something. I hope he does. It only makes the team better if he does. Chanel said, gee, most of the yards are from teams doubling CD, so you have to take the numbers into perspective. Yeah, Yeah, I get that part too. But this year, we're going to face some teams, Chanel. I think we're going to face a couple teams that I think that'll be able to handle George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. I don't think they'll be able to shut them down. I think they'll be able to handle them. And I think it's going to open up that game for Jalen Tolbert and Ferguson. I do. Roland said Jalen Tolbert was allowed to eat what should have been given to Turpin. Yeah, Turpin there. Turpin as a third. I'm not sure Turpin is a true. I'm not sure Turpin is a true wide receiver. But I do want him on the field as a wide receiver, if that makes sense. I want him as my fourth. I don't want him as my third. And he's great when you get him out there like that. Patrick said, the ball clock is, as my brother would say, out of there. Yes, sir. I think he is too, man. I think he is too. I agree with you. C-Bay said, I would definitely trade Mozzie and Rodgers for Buckner. But if not, post June 1st, I'm getting Reader. That's just me. I think Reader's going to be with the Cowboys. I do think Reader's going to be with the Cowboys. Jason said, if we had the right scheme, can use Turp speed like people use Tyreek Hill. We are going to use Turpin. You better believe we're going to use Turpin. Turpin will get about 4 to 5 touches on offense per game this season. Yeah, we're going to use Turpin. You watch what I tell you. Tolbert is a wide receiver for a battle where he would be a trade candidate. Boy, y'all really hating on this man, Tolbert, boy. I think Tolbert going to be all right, though. All right. Let's see if we can get another topic in here real quick.
Yes! Here we go!
All right, so let's look at this thing with these rookie coaches. I want to make sure I correct this. I was talking about this last night on the live stream. I had the information right the first time I gave this, but I looked at something wrong and I gave the wrong information on rookie coaches that have went to the NFC Championship game and have won Super Bowls. And I think this is very interesting because I was talking about this issue of heaping too many expectations on Dak Prescott and Brian Schottenheimer. And so I want us to see how to say that if the Cowboys don't go to the NFC Championship game because of George Pickens, I really want us to see how crazy that is. I mean, a rookie coach, rookie coaches, quite a few rookies. I want us to see, man, how crazy that is. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen, because I do believe it could full well happen. But at the same time, if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to destroy Dak Prescott over it, because I understand how hard it is for even if you have great players on a team, how hard it is for a rookie coach, even with a great quarterback, how hard it is for a rookie coach and rookie coaches and all these new players to make the conference game. Man, that is hard to do. Let me show you something. Look at this. So, rookie head coaches in the Super Bowl era. Shout out again to Bob Hayes. There have only been, in the Super Bowl era, there have only been 12 rookie head coaches in the 57-year modern Super Bowl era who have led their teams to a conference championship game. And we're saying that Dak Prescott has no more excuses. This is crazy. They're not excuses. They're the truth. These things with Dak Prescott have been truth, whether we want to accept it or not. It has not been Dak Prescott. It's been the team. We've been out-coached. There have been multiple reasons. I think that Brian Schottenheimer is on the right track. I absolutely think he's on the right track. But again, I think we still got some positions to tweak, and we still have to get this on the field. Of the 12 coaches that went to the conference game, only 2 of them won the Super Bowl. 5 of them have went to the Super Bowl. 2 of them have won the Super Bowl. 3 of them have lost the Super Bowl. Dan McCafferty and George Seifert. They're the 2 who went to the Super Bowl and won. Now, when you think about these 2, I read up on them. They both were promoted from within, had been on the team for a number of years. George Seifert sat behind Bill Walsh for quite a while. George Seifert inherited a loaded team. I think Don McCaffrey's somewhat the same. Not as loaded, I'm pretty sure, as the 49ers. But they both were able to win Super Bowls 71 and 89, respectively. Red Miller got to the Super Bowl. He lost. This is the one that caught my eye. Do we not understand the team that Barry Switzer had in 1994? Barry Switzer took over for Jimmy Johnson in 1994. He got to the NFC Championship game. Boy, they were loaded. They were absolutely loaded. Emmitt Smith, that line, Charles Haley, Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, they were loaded. Darren Woodson, I believe in those guys, they were absolutely loaded. Got to the NFC Championship game and got beat in a muddy game out there in Candlestick Park. Still probably was some pass interference on Deion Sanders, but it is what it is. Bill Callahan, the Cowboys lost with Barry Switzer in 94, came back and won the Super Bowl in 95. Steve Mariucci lost in 97, NFC Championship game to the Packers. Callahan lost the Super Bowl 37 to the Buccaneers. Sean Payton lost to the Saints in the NFC Championship game. Sean Payton with the Saints lost to the Bears in the NFC Championship game. Harbaugh with the Ravens lost the championship in the AFC Championship game to the Steelers. Rex Ryan lost to the Colts. Jim Caldwell of the Colts lost to the Saints in 2009 in the Super Bowl. Jim Harbaugh lost to the Giants in the NFC Championship game in 2011. And Matt LaFleur for the Packers lost to the Niners in the NFC Championship game in 2019. But I'm just saying all that to say, boy, this is hard to do. This is hard to do. There's a lot of things that have to go right. There's a lot of things that have to go right to happen what we want to happen. And don't get me wrong, I still say the Cowboys will probably win somewhere between 11 and 13 games. I think they even win a playoff game. But the NFC Championship game, not saying they can't get there, but boy, if they get there in Brian Schottenheimer's first year to the NFC Championship game, I have already said I believe the Cowboys get to the Super Bowl in 2026. Boy, this will go a long way towards that. But again, I do believe that Schottenheimer has a lot of work to do on this. And the reason being is that I still think Schottenheimer still has, as he's talking about building the greatest culture in football, I just wonder if you do that in a year. Stephen Jones said his goal is to build the best roster in the NFL. I still question whether you do that in a year. Everything I've seen so far, they're on their way. I think they would have to make, for me, and I'm going to take it this far. For me, I don't think DJ Reader, Jalen Ramsey, I don't think that is even enough when you're talking about building championship teams. Because when you build championship teams, it's not just when you get to that point and you say, we have an absolute fabulous team, great team. I don't think that's the point of when you say that's the Super Bowl breakthrough. I think the Super Bowl breakthrough is when you say the team is absolutely great. Now, where's the player that gets us over the top? I think you got to get a player that once you get the team to the point that you say, it's great, man, we're going to win 12, 13 easy. We're going to get to the NFC Championship game, or we're going to have an opportunity at it. Now you say, what's the player? Who's the player? Who's that player that we now say, and we get this player because this player, we say, he's the difference. He's actually extra. We don't even need this player. He's extra. That he takes us over the top in a certain position. And case in point, This happened to the Cowboys in the 90s. Not once, but twice. The Cowboys in 1992. That team, Troy Aikman talked about it. They were a year early. You want to know why they were a year early? They went and got Charles Haley. Cowboys didn't need Charles Haley. Charles Haley. And what I mean by they didn't need him to win. They were going to win without him. But they needed him to get over that proverbial hump to say, no, this is the player that now that we got a great team, now we have an elite team because this guy right here, he going to help us get to the Super Bowl. That was Charles Haley. Charles Haley came in, and I mean, he raised hell. Charles Haley raised hell with the Cowboys in 92, 93, man. The Cowboys' defense was already off the chart. Boy, they came in and put Charles Haley on that thing. Boy, it was different, man. Charles Haley was different with the Cowboys. He was a player that took them over the top, man. He took them over the top. He really did. He took them over the top. And when you get to that point, you got to start saying, okay, what player can we get that takes us over the top? And let me show you something with Haley. Let me show you some insane statistics. And I'm not sure we were keeping these statistics back then. You know, now Pro Football Focus, I mean, they keep how many times a guy ties shoes now. I mean, but they were not doing this stuff back then. Let me show you something. This is Charles Haley back in the day. They didn't keep stats the way they do now. Charles Haley came to the Cowboys in 1992, 15 games, 13 games started. He had 2 forced fumbles. Look at this. He had 6 sacks. Let me tell you something. We talk about how much Michael Parsons is double teamed. You had no choice but to double team Charles Haley. You had no choice. If you didn't double team Charles Haley, your quarterback was in risk. Your quarterback was at risk of being knocked out of the game. Your quarterback was not just at risk of being sacked. Your quarterback was at risk of being knocked out of the game. Charles Haley was a monster. Every team had to account for him. There was not a game that you couldn't go into saying, man, we have to account for Charles Haley. Or we can let somebody go single on him. Okay, go ahead. You go ahead if you want to. You're going to have problems. Don't let this 4 sacks and 6 sacks fool you. The impact he was making on the opposite, on the offensive side of the ball, how they had to manage him. Charles Haley created situations where other players on the team were able to eat. Charles Haley was a monster. And it only got worse as time went on. 94, they didn't win the Super Bowl. That was the Barry Switzer year. He went 12 and a half sacks in that one. 12 and a half sacks in that one. Then when you turn around in the 1995 season, 13 games, 10 and a half sacks. Charles Haley was a terror, man, with the Cowboys. I'm sorry. This man was a terror. And one of the things I think that started happening to Charles Haley was he started having back issues. Charles Haley was a terror, though. He really was. Charles Haley was not the player. And again, I'm trying to phrase this in a way to where we can truly understand this man's impact. Charles Haley wasn't the type of player that you say, yeah, we need Charles Haley. And it's not saying they didn't need him, but they were already good. But Charles Haley is that player you say, boy, we're great, but we want to be elite. Bring in Charles Haley. Bring in Charles Haley. Charles Haley was the type of player that pushed teams to Super Bowls. That was Charles Haley. The Cowboys did this again in 1995. The Cowboys had a good team. Charles Haley was on that team. But they wound up getting beat in 1994 down there in a sloppy game against the San Francisco 49ers in Candlestick Park. You know what the Cowboys said? Jerry Jones said, we need another one of those players. The team is already good. It's already great, but we need another one of those players. We need another player that can take us totally over the top. Enter in Deion Sanders. Enter in Deion Sanders. You don't get Deion Sanders to say, hey, man, we need another cornerback. No, you get Deion Sanders when you had the team the Cowboys had in 1995. You get Deion Sanders to say, hey, we need to go back to the Super Bowl. So for me, if the Cowboys get DJ Reader, if the Cowboys go out and get everybody saying a Jalen Ramsey or a Stephon Gilmore, I'm looking at this team now saying they got a good chance. NFC Championship, good chance. Great chance. Super Bowl, good chance. So let's think about what the Philadelphia Eagles did in 2024. The Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl in 2022. Kind of retooled that team, got players, free agency, did everything they did. They got to 2024 and they said, okay, we have this team back near the point of where it was in 2022 when we went to the Super Bowl. How do we now say, let's make a Super Bowl move? Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was not just any running back. Saquon Barkley was a Super Bowl move running back. A Super Bowl move saying that we have the type of team that if he was doing good on the Giants, with what we have on the outside, with what we have at quarterback, with what we have on the line, with what we have at tight end, this dude gonna eat. And he is going to take us over the top. That was Saquon Barkley. So when I would be waiting on with the Dallas Cowboys, that if they get DJ Reader, if they get Jalen Ramsey, will they be able to find one more? Because I'm talking if you're going to the Super Bowl in the first season of Brian Schottenheimer. I'm saying if you're going to the Super Bowl in the first year, who would be the other player? Because George Pickens is going to be the difference in a couple of games, maybe even 3. You get DJ Reader, he going to be the difference in the run game. He going to probably solidify another 1 or 2 games. Jalen Ramsey, hey, he really helps you solidify the back end. You're going to be even closer. But my point is, when you start talking about Super Bowl teams, don't stop till you get enough. Don't stop till you get enough. If you add those 2 players, so you continue to be on the lookout when the preseason shuts. So you continue to be on the lookout as the preseason cuts come down. Then you keep your ears and your eyes open. You get DeMarion Overshown back. And I wouldn't bring him back until Thanksgiving. They talking about he might come out. Man, they're saying stuff as crazy as DeMarion Overshown may be back for the season opener. Stop it. Please don't do it. Trayvon Diggs, don't rush back. If you're going to be a part of a Super Bowl run, get fully healthy. And DeMarion Overshown could very well be that player. If you got this team of DJ, you add DJ Reader, you add Jalen Ramsey. Well, DeMarion Overshown comes back healthy. He could very well be that player in the linebacker position. Straight up. DeMarion Overshown is a difference maker. And DeMarion Overshown, with some of the improvements that they could possibly make on this team, boy, he will be an absolute beast. He could be that player. But whatever the case, if I'm the Cowboys, if I don't get that player before the season starts. I keep my eyes open. And I'm going to keep playing until the trade deadline. This is the spot. And this to me, and y'all tell me what you think. This to me is going to tell me if the Cowboys are serious about winning a Super Bowl this year. The one place the Cowboys have failed season after season after season, they've had opportunities to improve their team another notch at the trade deadline, and they refuse to do it. Cowboys could have got Bobby Wagner at a point in time, I believe it was, or they could have got Derrick Henry. The Cowboys could have brought in another wide receiver in 2023. The Cowboys could have did many things at the trade deadline in 2023, and they didn't do it. Instead, doing stupid stuff like Trey Lance, doing stupid stuff like Jonathan Mingo last year. I think the Cowboys didn't even have to give up a fourth of Jonathan Mingo, and they still could have got him. I'm not saying it was dumb to get Mingo, but to give up what they gave up for him. But will the Cowboys look at their team, even if, let's just say the Cowboys are at the trade deadline, they only have 2 or 3 losses. Do you say we rolling with this and we're going to continue to roll? Or do you say, don't stop till you get enough? Is there another player out there that we could possibly get that will just be a treasure? I mean, can this player we bring in, can he be overkill? That'll really get us, that can guarantee us to do what we're doing. I'm just wondering because to me, the trade deadline for me will be the final straw for me to tell me that this team is trying to do it this year. That's what I want to see. Yeah, Lisa, I know you. Jalen Tolbert, you want him to succeed. I do too. I want Jalen, because I think if Jalen Tolbert is better, it will make everyone else better. I think it'll make everyone else better, because that's telling me that Tolbert's going to put up a ferocious fight. Iceberg Slim, Turpin don't have the hands. Yeah, I do think, again, I like Turpin where he is, 4th wide receiver. I think he's perfect right there. I think he's perfect right there. But again, I want to see what the Cowboys do. I want them to continue to add to this roster. Don't stop till you get enough. Hallelujah said, I ain't trying to get nowhere if we don't win it. Let's see. Jason Bowen said, I feel you on the defensive tackle. DJ Reader, man. I think if he gets out there, they got to get him. I think they have to get him if he gets out there. Troy Dudley said Jimmy Smith was on that team when Dallas was rolling, just could not get healthy. Okay. Jason Barnes, let me tell you something about Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is very smart. Dan Quinn was specifically trying to go the route he went through the playoffs because he knew he couldn't go the other route and make it to the NFC Championship game. But I don't think the Cowboys are going to have that opportunity. The Cowboys aren't going to have that opportunity. The Cowboys are basically going to have to run up in that thing and beat some people. Bottom line, the Dallas Cowboys are going to have to go through. They got to win. Bottom line, they got to roll up in there and win, man. They got to roll up in that thing and win. Straight up, they got to roll up in that thing and win. There's no other way they're going to be able to do it. They got to roll up in there and win. The competition in the playoffs this year is going to be even better. It's going to be even worse than it was last year. And again, I'm here for it. I'm glad. I want the Cowboys to roll up in there, and I want them to go gangbusters, and I want them to beat teams. I don't want there to be no excuses when the Cowboys win. The Ghost of Mike McCarthy said, I still don't trust Steven to build a Lego Batmobile. He said, much less the NFL's best roster. He said, I still think Jerry spearheaded this offseason's free agency signings, listening to Shoddy. Yeah, I do. I know for a fact that the George Pickens was Jerry Jones all over. He says, listening to Shoddy and Eberflus and Stephen and McClay. Yeah, that boy Jerry, I think Jerry got it done, man. I think Jerry got it done. I do. Yeah, I absolutely think Jerry got it done. Azteca, Alex is in here. I think is Alex still in the chat? Alex, what's going on? Azteca, he said James Cooks is holding out and not showing up to Bills OTAs. Wow. Wow. He'll get paid. Iceberg Slim, if you didn't double team Haley, he would get. Boy, Haley was a menace, boy. That man Haley was an absolute menace. Yeah. Goes to Mike McCarthy said, in today's NFL, it's nearly impossible to stay healthy as a team all season long. It is. It's tough. And again, I used to tell my wife this all the time, goes to Mike McCarthy, it's a battle of attrition. It really is. It's a battle of attrition. It's tough, man. It's tough to stay healthy in this league. But this offseason, the front office actually added much more depth at the critical injury-prone spots. They did. They absolutely did, and I'm glad they did too. Jason Barnes, he said, I just think with our linebackers this year and bringing in dogs that get after it, the culture is changing. We will stop the run. Jason Barnes, I mentioned this yesterday. The linebackers this year are going to go a long way towards helping us stop the run. King Charles, Dak will never sniff a championship. No, he won't. He's going to win one. I believe the team wins one in the next 3 years. Basil DuBose, what's going on? Why don't the Cowboys play Parsons at the linebacker instead of the defensive end? Follow this. I'm waiting to see how Matt Eberflus uses him. Because when Matt Eberflus was asked, how are you going to use Micah Parsons? The only thing he said was he's going to rush the passer. And with the pass rushers the Cowboys have right now, the Cowboys can easily move Micah Parsons. And the thing that I think they ought to do, you don't have to play him at linebacker the whole game. Let it be situational dependent. Also let it be opponent dependent. Micah Parsons can be used in a very versatile way. You don't just have to let him put his hand in the dirt and rush the passer from the left side of the line. No. Let him rush the passer from the left, from the right, and from the linebacker position. Because if I'm the Cowboys, why would you not want Donovan Ezeraku, Dante Fowler, Oso Digizua, Micah Parsons? Why would you not want all four of those pass rushers on the field at the same time? Why wouldn't you want that? The Cowboys are going to have some great opportunities with some of this personnel that they have to do some things that they have not been able to do in years. I mean, in absolute years. They're going to be able to do some great things. And so they need to take advantage of it. Iceberg Slim, he said guys were scared of Haley in 94. They started 0-2. He was breaking chairs, going crazy. Jerry signed Emmitt Smith the next day because he was holding out. Yes, sir. Yeah, that man Charles Haley was built, man, that dude was built from he was cut from a different cloth, man. No doubt about it. Hallelujah. He said the way my OCD is set up, I have zero faith in Demo's health right now. Yeah, man, the Cowboys got work to do. And again, that's why I'm saying the Cowboys got work to do, man. And I think they know it. They got work to do. But I think they're going to keep working at it. I do think they're going to keep working at it. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to save the Cowboys rookie coaches as far as Brian Schottenheimer, and we're going to save my topic of Dak is incredible. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about on Dak is incredible. We're going to save that for tomorrow's show. That'll be one of our leading storylines. But again, I'm going to show you some stuff about Dak Prescott. Somebody wrote a great article about Dak Prescott talking about that people should not discount what Dak Prescott is doing. And also what Dak Prescott has done. And what Dak Prescott is doing, once again, is absolutely incredible. And finally, we're going to get somebody that's actually going to tell us how Dak Prescott is doing. Because I think a lot of people, they're disappointed. And it's crazy. I think they're acting like they're disappointed that Dak Prescott is actually cleared for everything but contact, and he's looking good out there. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow and talking about how incredible Dak Prescott is and how I think Dak Prescott is being set up for an absolute incredible season. One of the best ones that I think he's had. I think we're about to see one of the best runs of Dak Prescott we've seen. I think it's going to be better than the 3-12 win seasons. Brian Schottenheimer, man, when you look at what he did with Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson wasn't even as good as Dak Prescott is right now at his age then. And what they've added to this team, and what I think they're going to continue to add to this team, Dak Prescott, man, it's setting up for Dak Prescott to have an absolutely incredible, I mean an incredible next 3 to 4 seasons. So it's going to be wild, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on the way out. Make sure, if you haven't already, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we go live or post another video. Appreciate you all. Until the next time, let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.